Chapter 76. I advise you to let me go now. I can pretend that nothing happened. Otherwise, you will definitely regret it. Tang Kun looked a little embarrassed, but what he said was extremely arrogant. Regret? Tell me, what will we regret? Principal Yang Hui said coldly. Starting from the capture of a catcher, a lot of information was interrogated, and the target was directed at the deep courtyard of the old city. Regarding the words of the security chief Feng Pinghao, there are various contradictions and there is a suspicion of covering up the facts. But the explanation he gave was that his subordinates might have been bribed, especially people from the technical department, which distorted the facts. Regarding these, it is not possible to understand clearly so quickly. In an emergency, they had no choice but to come to rescue people first. Unexpectedly, I also caught a big fish, and it turned out to be a Wuzong realm. But now, this Wuzong realm has obviously been caught, but his attitude is so arrogant. Where did he get the confidence? You are considered to be respectable people. Don't you know that some things are untouchable? Have you ever thought about how it will end? Tang Kun had a sinister smile on his face, which made people very unhappy. So, there are many people behind you, so we need to investigate thoroughly. The clear sky and white sun, the clear universe, can still make you lawless and unstoppable. Everyone present was not frightened and decided to investigate thoroughly, otherwise they would be sorry for the people who died. Ye Feng left the deep courtyard, flew a long distance, and finally entered an abandoned building. If there is no password, we can only force it open. Ye Feng put the suitcase on the ground. The soul power is mobilized to control the bailing shuttle. Bang 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 bang. A shuttle knife turned into a stream of light, like a gust of wind and rain, and accurately hit the suitcase. The sound of metal clashing was endless, and sparks were emitted from the collision. The scars on the suitcase gradually increased and deepened. This thing was quite thick, and it took Ye Feng a while to finally break through it. There are many documents in it. After a cursory scan, a lot of information is recorded, involving many people. It even includes experimental data on human subjects, complete evidence of guilt. Ye Feng ignored these documents for the time being and focused on the purple treasure box inside. Reach in and touch the treasure chest. Snap! You opened a purple, high-quality, treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 points of soul power. Yunsang Veen Instant Nutrition Supplement, the 5th stage. Finally the soul power is released. Ye Feng was delighted. Since I opened Su Chanyi's treasure chest in the Misty Forest last time, my soul power has increased to 27,000 points. Since then, there have been 5 treasure chests in a row, but no soul power has been obtained. Among these 5, Qi and blood were activated twice, but there was no soul power. As a result, the originally lagging energy and blood surpassed the soul power. Now I finally have soul power again. It is indeed a purple treasure chest, and the values it opens are many. After the fusion, Ye Feng's soul power reached an astonishing 57,000 points. I have said before that as long as it exceeds 54,000, it is the peak of the king level. In other words, Ye Feng's current soul master realm has been promoted from the early stage of the king level to the peak of the king level by jumping several levels in a row. There are still 24,000 points short of the 81,000 points required for the initial stage of the clan level. As for the current state of Qi and blood warriors, let me just mention that it is 36,000 calories of Qi and blood, which is in the middle stage of the martial king. If he had the current strength when he attacked Tang Kun just now, with the powerful cross-level combat power of the Soul Master and another sneak attack, he could really kill Tang Kun. As for the other thing, it was a bottle with a 5 mark on the bottle and a liquid inside. It can be absorbed by Yunsang Vine and quickly grow to the 5th stage. But now Yunsang Vine is attached to his body, and he will let it absorb it later when he is free. Well, these files. Ye Feng took out a stack of documents from the box. Before reading, turn on the recording function of your tactical watch and start reading. There is a lot of information recorded here, such as the information of the members, who they arrested, what kind of experiments they conducted, how much holy blood pills were produced, who they contacted, and how they were supplied, etc. This information is a piece of evidence of guilt. For Ye Feng, the information is of little use unless he wants to get through this muddy water. Now that Pang Qi and the others are dealing with this matter, we might as well hand over the information to them. Turning off the video recording, Ye Feng stuffed the files back into the heavy suitcase, hugged the suitcase, stepped on the soul soldiers, and flew towards the deep courtyard again. Deep courtyard. The people who came here have already swept through the entire deep courtyard. All the staff here were arrested and gathered together. As for those missing people, there are still many alive, although some are not in very good condition. Fortunately, they can be rescued. At this time, Pang Qi and others looked cold. What a holy blood pill! It was actually made using the blood of warriors. They couldn't imagine that someone would do such a crazy thing. Principal, the information we found is not very important and has little value. They had just searched out some information, but after looking through it, they found that they were all ordinary documents and were not of high value. No, there must be some important information. Pang Qi frowned and quickly cast his sharp gaze at Tang Kun, who was being controlled nearby. Did you hide the important information? Pang Qi said firmly. After running an organization for a long time, it is impossible not to leave any important information, even a shipping order or a personnel information sheet. But no, not at all. Even though it's easy to catch them now, they can still be convicted even without this information. But if there is information, it is possible to get more information from it and find out the people behind it. For example, as soon as he thought of this, the security chief Feng Pinghao arrived with many police officers. When investigating the missing persons, Feng Pinghao gave the result that the missing person left the city. But in fact, he was arrested and sent to the deep courtyard. After this incident, everyone became suspicious of the director. This time I came here to get ahead of the security bureau. The purpose was to fear that some of them would deliberately cover up something or let some people go. I know that you are very suspicious of me and think that I am in the same group with them, but I, Feng Pinghao, swear that I was also fooled by my subordinates at that time. The surveillance commander of the technical department has most likely been bribed, and some of the grassroots members of the city defense army have also been bribed, so they fabricate lies. I have sent people to control all the suspects. Then we will unite here and interrogate them one by one to give you justice. Feng Pinghao said to everyone present. Then he looked at the criminals and said, let's take them back first and then interrogate them. But he was interrupted by Pang Qi raising his hand. Wait a minute. I suspect that important information has been transferred. When Pang Qi said this, he kept staring at Feng Pinghao. I want to see some strange expression on the other person's face. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in the end, and Feng Pinghao's expression didn't change much. There is no important information. Tang Kun sneered, seemingly not worried about his situation at all. At the same time, he thought to himself, that guy took away the file box, but it actually helped me a lot. He didn't know who the other party was, but if it fell into the hands of one person, it would have a better chance of getting it back than if it fell into the hands of a bunch of people. As long as we find that person afterwards and silence him, everything will be cut off. Wait. I suddenly remembered that there was a soul master who flew away from here just now. At first, I thought he was also here to deal with the Shen Yuan, but now that I think about it, I seem to see that this person was holding a leaving in a box. Pang Qi suddenly said. Yes, I also remembered that it was indeed like this just now. It turned out to be an accomplice of the enemy. Someone on the side agreed. Only Su Chanyi knew that it was Ye Feng and did not think that he was an accomplice of the enemy. At this moment, everyone felt something and raised their heads to look at the sky. A square heavy object fell rapidly, and with a bang sound, it hit the ground hard, and several documents were scattered. Chapter 77. It's that soul master. Everyone was looking up at the sky. There was a cyan figure above, with soul soldiers stepping on it, turning into a stream of light and going away. There is strong envy in the eyes of many people. As warriors, unless they reach the martial emperor realm or above, they cannot have the ability to fly. But that is the martial emperor realm. How many of the people present dare to guarantee that they can achieve it? It's not just a matter of effort, but more importantly, talent, which determines the upper limit. Soul masters are different. They can control the flight of soul soldiers with soul power, and then fly with themselves. But soul masters were rare. With so many people present, none of them was a soul master. They could only envy them. Yes, this is the box I'm talking about. Pang Qi was excited. Unexpectedly, this soul master actually sent the box back. Although the box is broken, there are many documents inside, all of which are intact. Could it be that they are confidential documents? Tang Kun's heart felt cold, and he was also very angry. Why did that guy send the documents back? If you don't want these files, why did you snatch them just now? Tang Kun was confused. When Feng Pinghao saw the document, he leaned over to pick it up. Wait. Let me take a look first. Pang Qi took the lead and snatched the box away. Until now, he still seriously suspected that Marquis Fang Ping also had a problem. Even though the other party was the chief of security, he should have taken the lead in investigating the case, but the matter was so important that he had to cross the line to obstruct it. It's okay, then you take a look first. Fang Pinghao didn't care about spreading his hands and had no intention of fighting for it. Those who purify themselves will soon be able to find out the truth. Pang Qi took out the document and started reading it. Several other people nearby also came over. As I read through it, my face became more and more ugly. Each pile, piece by piece, was so bloody. When I first arrived here, I was shocked to see the holy blood pills on site. After reading these documents, I realized that they were just the tip of the iceberg. They have done this kind of thing a lot over the years. They are organized, premeditated, and well connected. First, there are the grassroots catchers, who catch lone warriors everywhere. Catchers are also divided into levels of strength. For example, those with weak strength can be responsible for catching martial apprentices and martial masters. Those who are strong can capture generals. As for the Qingwu realm, no relevant records have been found in the documents. According to the different realms of warriors and different levels of blood, the grades of the refined holy blood pills will also be different. That's why there are first grade, second grade, and third grade products sold to warriors of different levels. Shen Yuan is responsible for production, and Ruking Group is responsible for selling. As for people who have been missing all year round, it is some people from the Security Bureau and the city garrison who are responsible for providing false information to cover up people's eyes. For example, when the students disappeared this time, the surveillance footage provided by the technical department only intercepted clips that were beneficial to them. In addition, the city defenders made perjury to create the illusion that the missing persons went out of the city and were killed outside. In today's era, it is not safe outside the city. A large number of warriors die every day when they go out. It is a very daily thing. Among the people who have been missing all year round, many family members do not even report the case, taking it for granted that something happened outside, and reporting the case will yield no results. Only a few people reported the crime, and when they finally got this information, they were not suspicious. This method allows them to be lawless and arrest people arbitrarily in the city. It was not until this student incident that thunder finally broke out. Looking to the end, there are many people involved, but there is indeed no Fang Pinghao. Putting aside the extremely small probability, Fang Pinghao should be innocent. Pang Qi then handed the document to Fang Pinghao and asked him to read it over. With the information capturing ability of the powerful Wu Zone, even if it is a whole page of densely packed words, it only takes a few quick glances to read it all. Without spending too much time, Fang Pinghao also finished reading the document. These worms. Some of them were trained by me, but I didn't expect them to do such a thing secretly. Fang Pinghao gritted his teeth, his face full of anger. In particular, the surveillance commander-in-chief was promoted from the grassroots level. White-eyed wolf. What AFG white-eyed wolf? Fortunately, these people on the list were basically controlled by him in advance. It's not that he knows everything, but it's almost the same. As long as there is something suspicious, he will control it first and then investigate one by one afterwards. He will not let any criminal go, nor will he wrongly accuse any good person. Tang Kun? President of Ruking Pharmaceutical Group. Fang Pinghao looked at Tang Kun. This identity information was obtained from documents. Ruking Group is a local industry in Linhai City and is quite famous. But the CEO who appeared in the media before was not Tang Kun. Now it seems that Tang Kun is the actual person in power. The one on the surface is just a puppet pushed out to fool the outside world. Take them all back. Keep the evidence here, and you can stay and seal the scene. Fang Pinghao commanded the personnel and the actions were carried out in an orderly manner. In the end, except for those who stayed to seal off the scene, everyone else evacuated. At the same time, a large number of other police officers went to Ruking Group to arrest their top executives. Regrettably, the actual people in power have long since disappeared, and those who remain are either puppets who are usually promoted in public, or some uninformed personnel. If he hadn't gone to the deep courtyard in time, people like Tang Kun would have been run away by him. In the Security Bureau, the prisoners were separated for interrogation. Tang Kun was personally interrogated by Feng Ping how to see if more unknown big shots could be uncovered. However, he has a very tough mouth and it is difficult to pry him off, so it will probably take some tricks. It will take some time to figure out the case clearly. When encountering this kind of thing, the groups involved did not leave Linhai City and stayed temporarily. Perhaps they needed to cooperate in doing something. The place I chose was also near the security station, and I stayed in some large hotels, directly booking the whole building. Ye Feng had already returned and appeared in front of everyone as a student. The incident of making elixirs from human blood is very involved. If anyone knows that the soul master is himself, it will definitely cause a lot of trouble. In order to be quiet, Ye Feng was very careful not to reveal his identity as a soul master. Time passed and came to night. The moon hangs high in the sky, sometimes obscured by clouds, sometimes shining with silver light, and sometimes completely pitch black. Ye Feng stood on the rooftop, enjoying the moonlight and evening breeze, looking down at the night scene below. It was late at night, lights were turned off in many places, and there were not many pedestrians on the road. At this time, footsteps came from behind, and Ye Feng knew who it was without turning around. "It's so late, what are you doing up here?" Su Chanyi's voice sounded from behind. "Linfen, admiring the moon." Ye Feng smiled freely, tilted his head slightly, and asked, "What about you, why are you coming up too?" "I can't sleep, so I came up here to get some air." Su Chanyi came to Ye Feng and stood side by side. A faint fragrance comes with the wind, lingering on the tip of Ye Feng's nose. As for seeing Ye Feng during the day, she was very sensible and didn't mention it. She just knew it in her heart. If anyone heard this, it would cause trouble for Ye Feng for no reason. Women's thoughts are still relatively delicate. Neither of them spoke, enjoying the quiet night. "Hey!" The evening breeze blew and the clouds moved, covering the bright moon tightly and plunging the entire rooftop into darkness. Suddenly, a flash of sword light with strong killing intent came quickly from behind. Chapter 78. Careful! Ye Feng shouted sharply. The soul power was mobilized, and the bailing shuttle appeared. The position it appeared was behind Su Chanyi. Hundreds of shuttle knives, as flexible as fish, are combined into a shield. Clang! The harsh sound of gold and iron clashing sounded, and the tip of the sword, which was full of murderous intent and vowed to break through everything, was firmly intercepted by the shield composed of bailing flying shuttles. The man in black robe holding a sharp sword had a stunned expression under the mask. In the early days of his mighty martial arts sect, when he came to assassinate a martial king, it was supposed to be a 100% success. But now, it was intercepted by someone, and the sword could not make an inch. There is actually a soul master. He was surprised to find a soul master beside Su Chanyi who was stronger than him. "Wait! Are you just?" He immediately realized that this person was the mysterious soul master in this incident. Ye Feng is so strong. Although Su Chanyi already knew that Ye Feng was much stronger now than before, she was still shocked when she saw it with her own eyes. She couldn't even react to the sword strike just now. The enemy was much stronger than her. If Ye Feng hadn't taken action, she would have been dead or injured at this time. Who is the other party? Why did he come to assassinate her? All the spearheads point to the human blood pill incident. Was the choice to assassinate her random? Or was the goal clear? Many thoughts quickly flashed through Su Chanyi's mind. A new round of confrontation is also beginning. The man in the black robe and mask failed to succeed in one attack, quickly retreated a few steps, and then attacked again. This time, the tip of the sword was pointed directly at Ye Feng. First deal with Ye Feng, and then kill Su Chanyi. However, he still underestimated Ye Feng's strength. Although Ye Feng's soul master realm is only at the peak of king level, he is in the early stage of martial arts. But the soul master's ability to transcend levels is unparalleled. Coupled with the 5th level soul soldier bailing shuttle, it is even more powerful and invincible. 100 shuttle knives can be formed into any shape under the mobilization of Ye Feng's soul power. Can attack. Can defend. Can attack in separate ways. Facing the stabbing sword, Ye Feng controlled part of the shuttle knife and combined it into a shield to resist. The remaining dozens of shuttle knives were broken into pieces and attacked the black-robed masked man from all directions like locusts. Not good. The man in black robe and mask was shocked. The shuttle knives were too fast and there were so many of them that it was difficult for him to resist. About to withdraw and retreat. However, located on the side of his arm, several shuttle knives were waiting for the opportunity to move, immediately increasing their speed to the fastest speed. Ah! With a scream, the black-robed man's right arm was instantly cut off, cutting off his arm. The long sword in his hand also fell with the broken arm. The man in black robe covered his broken arm, blood still gushing out like a fountain. With such a delay, there is no way out. The shuttle knives were evenly distributed everywhere around him, like poisonous snakes, staring at him. I ask, you answer, do you hear me clearly? Ye Feng's voice was colder than the evening breeze. He he he. The man in the black robe and mask laughed, and his laughter was a bit sad, just like the silent night. I'm not so naive. I thought I could survive if I cooperated honestly. So, you can't get any useful information from me. Besides, I have come to carry out the assassination mission, and I have already been determined to die. His voice became weaker and weaker. After saying this, he fell straight down. From under his mask, black and foul-smelling blood continued to seep out. He committed suicide by taking poison. Ye Feng judged. A professional killer like this is no different from a dead soldier. Every action he takes is treated as his last, and he holds a specially made highly poisonous capsule in his mouth beforehand. Once the situation is not right and there is no way to escape, they will bite the poisonous capsule, swallow the venom, and soon die of poisoning. The movement is up here. There was noise coming from the corridor, and it was estimated that many people came up. They had sensed the movement from the fight just now. What should I do? Su Chanyi was anxious. After experiencing this assassination, she felt more and more that the forces behind the human blood pill incident were very complicated, and the people involved may not be just those in the document list. How can it be easy to send Wuzong killers at will? They can assassinate once, but they can assassinate a second or third time. Ye Feng's current identity as a soul master has not been revealed yet. Once exposed, he will definitely be hated very much. After all, it was Ye Feng who was the first to arrive at the deep courtyard. It was Ye Feng who held Tang Kun back, injured him, and even threw the confidential documents to everyone in the security bureau. With the means of those people, it is impossible not to know this. If Ye Feng's identity is exposed, the other party will definitely send experts to assassinate Ye Feng. Although these people who are coming up now are theoretically our own people, there are many people with mixed eyes. If they know that Ye Feng is the soul master, there is no guarantee that the news will be leaked at any time. A martial artist died here and committed suicide by taking poison. Who on earth had the ability to force him to commit suicide by taking poison? If Su Chanyi doesn't have this ability, she can only be Ye Feng, so what explanation should she give? Yun Sangtan. Ye Feng's right arm was straightened, and a green rattan came out of his sleeve. It quickly expanded and became longer, wrapping Ye Feng tightly in almost the blink of an eye. The bailing shuttle formed a shield, and Ye Feng stepped on it and quickly took off. At the same time, a large group of people came up from the corridor and just saw Ye Feng leaving. It's that soul master. Why is he here? Everyone now respects and is curious about this mysterious soul master. It was the information given by the soul master that made things go smoothly, so they respected it. And who the other party was made them very curious. This soul master friend, why don't you come down and get together? Pang Chi cupped his hands and shouted to the figure in the sky. His tone was very friendly, he really wanted to make friends with this person. But the people above him didn't pay attention to what he meant. They flew further and further away and quickly disappeared from everyone's sight. Pang Chi sighed, secretly thinking it was a pity. Bodies. Someone died there. And Teacher Su, are you also here? The shouts from the people around him made Pang Chi regain his mind and also discovered the situation on the rooftop. This man was a martial arts master during his lifetime. Pang Chi was surprised. Not long after the death, there was still breath left. He could tell at a glance that this person was in the Wuzong realm. A person from the Wuzong realm actually died here in the fight just now? They did not forget that it was because they noticed a fight that they came up to check on the situation. Everyone turned their attention to Su Chanyi. It was obvious that Su Chanyi was at the scene of the fight just now, and she must know what happened. Su Chanyi took a deep breath and said to everyone the words she had planned in advance, "This is a killer who came to assassinate me. But by coincidence, the mysterious Soul Master passed by and rescued me. The Soul Master is very powerful. He was so strong that the killer was unable to retreat, so he committed suicide by taking poison." Killer? Could it be? Everyone wanted to go together. which was the force behind the blood pill incident. As for why Su Chanyi was assassinated. In the beginning, it was Su Chanyi who captured a catcher, and the incident had a breakthrough, and clues about the deep courtyard were found during the interrogation. It may be this reason that caused the other party to hold a grudge and send a killer to take revenge. Do you really not know that, Soul Master? Pang Qi suddenly looked directly at Su Chanyi and asked with a serious expression. Before Su Chanyi could answer, there was sudden noise coming from the direction of the security station below. Chapter 79. The temporary location where everyone is staying is located in the area near the security bureau. At this time, there was movement in the security bureau, and Pang Qi and others here could detect it. What happened? Everyone was very puzzled. Why did it suddenly seem so noisy in the dead of night? No. Someone is dead. Another shout came from below. Everyone hurried down and finally reached the third floor, where they saw a man lying in a pool of blood in room 404. The vital part came from the neck, with a deep wound, and he had just died. There was no trace of the murderer at the scene. Li Liang, the president of Yanghui University, came and cried out sadly after hearing the news. The person in the pool of blood is Li Liang, his senior tutor at Yanghui University, and has the strength of the king of martial arts. He was originally resting in this room, but he was sneaked into and assassinated without even a sound being heard. It was just the movement on the rooftop and the noise coming from the direction of the security station that woke up many people. Passing by Li Liang's room, he smelled the smell of blood and broke in. Unexpectedly, he saw this scene. Just now, a killer also appeared on the rooftop. Pang Qi told Principal Yanghui what happened just now. Do you know the origin of the killer? Principal Yanghui asked. The killer has the strength of Wuzong, but as for his identity. Pang Qi was mid-sentence when he suddenly saw something. Look, there's an envelope there. On Li Liang's body, there was an envelope. He went in, picked up the envelope, opened it and looked at it. Just treat it as a warning and a lesson to you. Forget everything, where you came from, and where you are going back. The red font looks very ferocious. There is no doubt that the envelope was left intentionally by the murderer, and the identity of the other party cannot be anyone else, but the force behind the human blood pill. Pang Qi asked people to go to the rooftop again and found the same envelope on the killer above. After preparing to kill Su Chanyi, I left this envelope. He calculated countless times, but failed to figure out that there was such a variable as Ye Feng. There was a murder here, and Pang Qi immediately contacted Fang Pinghao. Unexpectedly, Fang Pinghao's feeble voice came from the other end of the call. Something happened here too. Reminiscent of the noise coming from the security bureau not long ago, everyone set off to the security bureau. As soon as they entered, everyone's pupils shrank, and the strong smell of blood hit their nostrils. What happened? Why are so many people dead? Looking around, in the middle of the field, there are corpses, at least hundreds of people. All were killed in one blow, showing the professionalism of the assassin. Some of them were wearing police uniforms and some were wearing prison uniforms. These people in prison uniforms were all arrested and interrogated during the day, and they were basically key figures. Except for Tang Kun, not included in this list. Killers sneaked in, all wearing night clothes and masks, and killed all the more important detainees. These police officers on duty were also killed by them. Fang Pinghao's voice was harsh, his face was ugly, and he was very angry. What about Tang Kun? Tang Kun is the most important person. He was not seen in the pile of corpses, nor was Fang Pinghao mentioned. They rescued me. When I noticed the movement, I came out to stop it, but was stopped by a killer. But I was defeated by this person. If I guessed correctly, this killer is a strong martial artist. He also warned me that it is best not to continue the investigation, otherwise I will bear the consequences. As soon as Fang Pinghao said these words, everyone in the audience was shocked. The Wuzong is already powerful enough, but he still has the Wuzun realm. It makes people feel more mysterious and afraid of the enemy forces. Not only was he powerful, he was also so arrogant that he dared to go to the security station to kill people and even rescued Tang Kun. It is simply lawless and lawless. Fang Pinghao has already reported it and contacted the provincial bureau. It will take time to send someone there. It was a long night, and they had no intention of sleeping, so they kept waiting at the security station. Other side. Ye Feng looked around at the night scene in the sky, and then returned to his residence. Put away his identity as a soul master and go back swaggeringly. There were many students in the corridor, talking about what just happened. The rooftop killer was killed by a mysterious soul master. Li Liang of Yonghui University was assassinated. The principal and several instructors went to the security bureau. Ye Feng entered the house and fell asleep. Even though Ye Feng is asleep, as a soul master, he has full soul power and a strong sense of his surroundings. Whenever there is a hint of crisis approaching, Ye Feng will suddenly wake up. Nothing else happened that night. The next day came in a blink of an eye. The morning light falls softly. Many people stayed up all night and looked tired. As warriors, it was not a big deal if they didn't sleep all night, but because of the assassination last night, their nerves were highly tense, which made them so exhausted. Ye Feng stood on the balcony, facing the security bureau. Ye Feng suddenly saw a black spot growing rapidly in the sky far away. If you get closer, you can see clearly that it is a human figure. He stepped on a soul weapon and flew quickly in the direction of the security bureau. It's a soul master. Look, there's a soul master flying in the sky. There were exclamations from the classmates around me. Ye Feng could naturally see clearly that he was indeed a soul master. Even though the distance was far, it still gave Ye Feng a strong sense of oppression. This person must not be simple. Apart from himself, this was the first time Ye Feng saw other soul masters. The soul master came to the sky above the security bureau and landed. Deputy Bureau Lu. You are here in person. Marquis Feng Ping led the crowd and immediately stepped forward to greet him with great respect. I have long heard that the deputy director of the provincial government, Lu Xianhua, is a respected soul master with extremely powerful strength. What I saw today is that the rumors are true. Facing Lu Xianhua, they felt extremely pressured, as if they were being pressed down by a big mountain. With Deputy Director Lu here, I hope the enemy will never dare to make another mistake again. Fang Pinghao said, half flattering. The tightness accumulated in my chest can finally be released. No. Lu Xianhua shook his head, I'm here this time to tell you not to get involved in this matter again. What? Everyone thought they heard wrongly. What you don't know is that this kind of thing doesn't happen only here in Linhai City. Similar things have happened in other cities, not only using human blood to create elixirs, but may also involve other bottomless things. Behind every crime, there seems to be a pair of invisible hands controlling everything. Can you understand? You don't have the ability to investigate. If you continue the investigation, more people will die. Lu Xianhua's words sent chills down the spines of everyone present. It would have been fine if it had been someone else who said this, but coming from Lu Xianhua's mouth, one can imagine how valuable it is. They had expected that the enemy would be very difficult, but they did not expect that it would be as complicated as this. Are we going to let them get away with it? Fang Pinghao was very aggrieved, being bullied to such an extent that he actually wanted to pretend that nothing happened. Of course that's impossible. The Yanlong army has always been responsible for similar things, and it's the same this time. Hiss. Flame Dragon Army. Everyone was surprised, because it was a special military branch, and people's impression of it was that it was powerful, mysterious, and rare. It was responsible for handling major events. Chapter 80. Lu Xianhua explained some more things and then left. Pang Qi and other foreign warriors also returned to their residence. Ye Feng learned about Lu Xianhua from Su Chanyi. Ye Feng didn't expect that the matter would end hastily in this way. However, since the Yanlong army needs to be alarmed, it proves that the enemy is indeed very powerful. If the local forces here forcefully intervene, it will indeed be very dangerous. Ye Feng couldn't help but think that there were many strong people in the world, but his own strength was still not enough. At the same time, I also lament that some people risk their lives to protect their homes and countries, while others do everything possible to persecute others. This time I came here, I saw both kinds of people, which gave people a strong sense of separation. Reorganize the team and head back. For students who have had accidents, the school will contact their families after they return, and the state will also provide compensation. At this time, in a remote building somewhere, two people were standing, one behind the other. The person at the back was none other than Tang Kun. He looked extremely respectful and bowed slightly, facing the person in front. The man in front had his back to him, and he wore a jade ring on his thumb, which he rotated at a constant speed under the twist of his index finger. Suddenly, the movement of his fingers stopped, and he spoke out, "You mentioned just now that you were attacked by a soul master in the first place. As a result, you couldn't run in time and you were stopped. Do you have any clues about this person? There are no useful clues for the time being. I only know that he was wrapped in a demonized plant at that time. It should be Yunsang Vine, the sole weapon he used. Tang Kun described it in detail based on his memory at the time. Yes, I understand. The man wearing the jade ring nodded slightly. At the same time, he secretly said, we just need to capture some soul masters over there. Let's see if we can find this person. On the second day, the team rushed back to school. Ye Feng asked Yunsang Vine to absorb the 5th stage instant nutrient. My identity as a soul master is now bound to Yunsang Vine and Bailing Shuttle. So, once I use these things, I must appear as a soul master, and no one can know that I, Ye Feng, am that soul master. Now that the enemy is powerful and the Yanlong army needs to intervene, it is necessary to hide their identity. Unless one day, you can no longer be afraid of this force, then you can fight head-on. Time passes. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. In the room, Yunsang Vine has grown to the 5th stage. At this time, it has a total of 5 canes. Each rattan, if released to its extreme length, can reach 40 meters in length. However, Ye Feng didn't let him do it like this. The room was not big and it might be filled up later. Ye Feng glanced at the ground and saw a red arrow extending all the way to the east. This is a clue to a treasure chest that suddenly appeared on the way back from the misty forest. It is a red treasure chest, which is a level higher than the purple treasure chest. Its location exists in the Zhang family mansion. The specific location of the Zhang family's residence is unknown for the time being. After learning this clue at that time, Ye Feng also conducted research on the Zhang family, and even took the time to conduct on-site observations. Unfortunately, the Zhang family's mansion is the Zhang family's headquarters and is not so easy to enter. The important point is that there are many masters inside, including martial arts masters and even martial arts masters. Once you sneak in and are discovered, it will be very dangerous. But that was before, and Ye Feng now is more powerful than before. He is not afraid of ordinary Wuzong realm, the only thing he is afraid of is Wuzong. In the huge Zhang family, there is only one person who can be determined to be in the martial master realm, and that is their current head of the family. As for the uncertain, the old family head of the previous generation was said to have been a strong martial artist, but then he disappeared without knowing what happened. Some people speculated that the old family leader was dead, while others speculated that he was not dead yet, but just indifferent to worldly affairs and hidden behind the scenes. What is the specific situation? The Zhang family has never discussed this issue in front of outsiders, and outsiders can only make random guesses. Especially those forces that compete with the Zhang family and have entangled interests, they really want to figure out this issue. Patriarch Zhang, is he still alive? In a family, there is one martial lord, or there are two martial lords, which are completely two concepts. If the head of the Zhang family is dead, the threat posed by the Zhang family will drop to a lower level. Next time I have a conflict with the Zhang family, I can be more assertive and don't give the Zhang family too much face. The sworn enemies understand the key, and the Zhang family themselves also understand this. This is also the reason why the Zhang family hides it so that no one knows whether the old family leader is alive or dead. I won't tell you, so you can guess for yourself. As long as there is no answer for a day, the fear of the Zhang family will always exist. Ye Feng just thinks that the old head of the family is still there, so in this way, the only threat to Ye Feng in the entire Zhang family is the old and new head of the family, the two martial masters. As long as you don't run into these two martial masters, there won't be much of a problem. Mainly now there is the secret technique of stealth in Shadow's trail, which makes me feel like a fish in water when doing things like stealth. This gave Ye Feng information to give Jiang's house a try. If everything goes well and you can open the red treasure chest and even steal the god-eating moss, that will be perfect. Of course, the answer can only be known after taking action. Ye Feng made some preparations and immediately set off towards the Zhang family. The location of Jiang's mansion is located to the east of Lingnan provincial government. This is a manor that occupies an extremely large area. The architectural style is rather ancient, with tall garden walls surrounding many pavilions and pavilions, giving it a hint of a city within a city. For warriors with a certain level of strength, it is completely possible to climb a wall of such height. But inside, the defense is extremely tight, with not only surveillance, but also warriors standing guard and patrol teams. Without certain means, it is almost impossible to sneak in quietly. Hey! It's so lively! Feng observed from a distance and found that the Zhang family's mansion today was crowded with guests. They each brought congratulatory gifts and presented invitations. Master Jiang's 60th birthday today, my Wang family brought a century-old ice lotus to express our congratulations. Everyone from the Wang family, please come in quickly. A group of people entered inside. 60th birthday. The volume they spoke just now was not low, and Ye Feng's sensitive ears allowed Ye Feng in the distance to hear the content of their conversation. Chapter 81. The sky gradually darkened. The Zhang family's manor was brightly lit and full of joy. On the flat and spacious lawn, dining tables are placed, with a variety of delicacies, juices and wine. The guests sat around the table and talked in twos and threes, and the scene was extremely lively. Those who can receive invitations and come here by invitation are all dignitaries. On such an occasion, it is a good time to make friends and establish connections. Perhaps in the blink of an eye, the two parties can finalize a certain business, bringing huge profits to the family and power. At this time, several people came. The guests in the conversation all fell silent and looked over. Surrounded by the stars and the moon, there is a middle-aged man. He is physically strong, full of energy, and full of vitality and blood. Judging from the appearance alone, one would have thought that this person was only in his 40s, but there was no way to tell that this person was already 60 years old. He is the current head of the Zhang family, Zhang Yin, a strong man in the martial arts realm. The people who came with Zhang Yin were all senior members of the Zhang family and had the strength of the Wuzong. A master of martial arts, usually a big shot, but standing next to Zhang Yin, he seemed to have no sense of existence. Everyone's focus was on Zhang Yin. Master Zhang. Congratulations to Master Zhang on his 60th birthday. May you be as blessed as the East Sea and live as long as the southern mountains. The guests stood up one after another and raised their hands to say hello and congratulations. Zhang Yin came to the top of the table, looking around at everyone with a smile on his face. Everyone, you are very interested in coming to my Jiang's house tonight to wish me a birthday. We don't have much to entertain you. We have only prepared a few fine wines and food for everyone to eat and drink. We all want to go back having a good time tonight. Thank you, Master Zhang, for your hospitality. Master Zhang, I'd like to toast you. In the bustle, no one thought that a sneaking figure climbed over the wall and entered the Zhang family. Electronic eyes everywhere monitor everywhere without blind spots. The guards and patrols are no worse than usual. There are a large number of outsiders tonight. Entering the Zhang family, it is easy for others to fish in troubled waters and sneak in some thoughtful people. In terms of security, we dare not relax at all. But these are nothing to Ye Feng. Yes, the person who sneaked in was Ye Feng. He uses shadow, and as long as the enemy does not exceed the Wuzong realm, they will not notice him. Hidden by the mysterious shadow, Ye Feng took action in the Zhang family mansion. The direction of travel is naturally to follow the red arrow. After a while, Ye Feng stood beside a big tree. The Zhang family is very large and has good greening. Flowers and plants are planted in many places. When there are too many flowers and plants, mosquitoes will inevitably be attracted. For example, there are mosquitoes wandering around aimlessly at this time. Seemingly ordinary, Ye Feng stared at one of them. If you just look at it from the outside, there is nothing special about this one. It is not much different from other mosquitoes. But Ye Feng had been researching the knowledge about raising voodoo insects for a while, and he noticed that this mosquito among them was not an ordinary mosquito, but a wind mosquito. The Zhang family is very good at raising various bugs. For example, the sniffing bugs in the past were quite difficult to deal with. The current wind mosquito is also a reconnaissance insect. It has a strong sense of the wind element, and if there is anything abnormal in the surrounding airflow, it will soon be noticed by it. This function of wind mosquitoes is specially cultivated to detect possible enemies. After all, possessing secret skills such as stealth, not only can one hide one's body, but one can also control one's breath completely. Even sniffing insects can hardly detect the scent. Conventional means are even more powerless. Wind mosquito is used to deal with such situations. The body is hidden and the breath is restrained, but you have to move. Once you move, it will drive the airflow, making it easy for it to detect abnormalities. If you can know its existence in advance and deal with it carefully, you can still get through it. The problem is that many people don't understand bugs at all. Most people don't even bother to pay attention to an ordinary mosquito around them. Therefore, it is very easy to fall into the trap and unknowingly expose your whereabouts. Ye Feng noticed it in time and stopped immediately just now. Wind Mosquito was wandering nearby, looking a little confused. It had clearly noticed just now that the airflow nearby was obviously abnormal, but now it felt it carefully, but there was nothing abnormal. This doubt was also passed to the owner of this wind mosquito, the Gu master who cultivated it. But he didn't think too much about it. Sometimes it was possible for his perception to go wrong due to some coincidence. Hey? No, there is a real situation. Secretly, this Gu master was suddenly startled. Because there was another message from the wind mosquito, sensing that there really was abnormal airflow nearby. Judging from experience, it was very much like someone was moving, and he couldn't see the figure, so he could only use the stealth technique. Feng Mosquito had already followed, and at the same time, the Gu master also reported the person's whereabouts to the Zhang family masters in real time. Ye Feng sighed. Hey! I'm not the only one who sneaked into the Zhang family. Ye Feng discovered that the wind mosquito suddenly had something unusual and followed it in a certain direction. Ye Feng possesses the talent of being a wind whisperer and has an innate sense of the wind element, which is also very sensitive. So if you look carefully, you can indeed notice that the airflow in the direction tracked by the wind mosquito is a bit abnormal. If it weren't for the wind mosquitoes, it might not have been so easy to find. After all, the surrounding space was so large that it was impossible for Ye Feng to carefully explore everywhere. But if the wind mosquito points out the direction and senses at a fixed point, it will be much easier. The opponent's secret technique of sneaking should be very good, and his own strength is probably very strong. If it weren't for the weak air current generated when moving, which exposed his whereabouts, ordinary people would not be able to detect his existence. Ye Feng hung far behind this person and followed him. The main reason is that the arrow of the red treasure chest happens to be in this direction. However, this person should have been discovered by the Zhang family Gu master, so it would be a matter of time before he attracts the Zhang family. Ye Feng couldn't help but open the distance further. Let's wait and see how the Zhang family will respond to the intruder. Ye Feng's actions at this time will not be noticed by the wind mosquito. Because he has the talent of being a wind whisperer, his ability to use the wind element is also stronger. As long as he pays attention, he can make the air flow so small that it can be ignored. In this way, Ye Feng hung far away all the way. The person in front seemed to have a very clear goal, heading all the way to the Zhang family's backyard. Coincidentally, the arrow on the red treasure chest also points to the backyard. The Zhang family's backyard is not generally large, the environment is very good, and there is even a large rockery. At a glance, there are mountains, water, flowers, and grass. This person took great risks and sneaked into the Zhang family. He definitely didn't just come to enjoy the scenery in the Zhang family's backyard. Could it be that there is some secret in the backyard? Chapter 82. Ye Feng could not see the specific location of the red treasure chest for the time being. He only saw a red arrow extending all the way to the rockery. Others will definitely not know about the treasure box, so there must be other reasons for others to sneak in. This made Ye Feng even more curious. What is there in the Zhang family's backyard? The person in front of him, even though he has the sneaking skill, still habitually uses trees and other obstacles to move towards the rockery. The more the Zhang family dares not publicly prove that the head of the Zhang family is still alive, the more it means there is something wrong. According to the latest information investigated, this old family leader may really be alive, but due to some shady issues, he cannot appear in public. The sneaking person secretly thought in his heart and looked in the direction of the rockery. According to the informant's information, the Zhang family's backyard is an absolutely forbidden area. No one can go near the backyard without the owner's permission. In the entire Zhang family, only a few high-ranking people are eligible to enter the backyard. Isn't that enough to explain the problem? If the Zhang family has any secrets, then if you search in this backyard, there is a high probability that you can find the answer. Strange, why is there no one guarding it? The sneaking person felt very confused. He has already entered the backyard and gone a long way deep, but he hasn't seen anyone around him yet. Where is the forbidden area that was promised? Which forbidden area doesn't even have a guard? Wait. No. At this moment, several powerful auras came from all directions. It turns out there are so many people hiding around. He was surprised at first, and then confused. Wasn't he using the secret technique of stealth? How could he be discovered? Or maybe they didn't actually notice it, but they just happened to show up because of something? He was still holding on to the last bit of luck. It wasn't until everyone surrounded him and attacked him that he had no choice but to take the attack and use force. After the stealth technique disappeared and his body was exposed in front of everyone, he realized how naive his idea was. How did you discover me? This is a man with an aquiline nose, and his originally serious face is filled with expressions of astonishment. The surrounding Zhang family members, as if they could see him, could actually surround him and kill him. Haha, it's not easy to find you. With all your tricks, do you want to sneak into my Zhang family? Tell me, which family sent you here? The Zhang family? The Yang family? Or, the Sun family? While talking, two people suddenly took action. One controlled the hook-nosed man, and the other pinched the hook-nosed man's jaw. Another knee hitting the hook-nosed man's abdomen hard, and with a pop, whatever was in his mouth was spat out. It was a capsule-shaped object with a shallow imprint. If you take a step too slow, you will be bitten. The liquid inside, no need to guess, must be highly poisonous. You've come here and you still want to commit suicide? I can't let you die without asking for enough valuable information. The Zhang family and others sneered. As expected of a member of a large family, his experience is a wise one. He predicted in advance that this person had suicidal intentions. The hook-nosed man's face was extremely ugly. He fell into the hands of the enemy and could not even decide to die on his own. If you don't tell me, I'll let you have a taste of the latest bloodthirsty bugs cultivated by my Zhang family. You will be covered in bugs and suck all the blood bit by bit. If you think this is not fun enough, don't worry, my Zhang family has many varieties of goo worms. We can try them slowly. There will always be something you like, devil. The hook-nosed man's face turned pale instantly, and he felt that everyone in front of him was a devil. I said, I was sent by the Sun family. The man with the hooked nose said weakly. Why did we send you here? The Zhang family asked. I'm here to investigate the situation about Mr. Zhang, and see if there are any other secrets. The hook-nosed man told the truth. Next, there was another cross-examination. He answered the same questions one by one. He was really scared, so the Zhang family captured him and fed him to insects. Now I no longer want to live, I just want to die happily. After asking about the situation, the hook-nosed man said anxiously, I have already confessed everything, please give me a good time. Well, the performance is good. The Zhang family said with a smile. Whoosh. Several people had a tacit understanding, and they all took action without any warning. Ah! The hook-nosed man howled miserably. His hand tendons and hamstrings were directly severed, and even though he had the martial arts realm, he became a useless person. Tug it away and feed it to the insects. You, the Zhang family, will not die well. Even if I am a ghost, I will not let you go. Amidst angry curses, the hook-nosed man was dragged out of the backyard. Ye Feng witnessed the whole process. There are 10 Zhang family members hiding in the backyard, and every one of them is in the Wuzong realm. There are really many martial sects in the Zhang family. Their location was roughly near the rockery. As for the Wuzong realm, Ye Feng is not afraid. The shadows can completely fool them. And with the talent of Wind Whisperer, Ye Feng would not be noticed by Wind Mosquito as long as he paid attention. It is completely possible to get close to the rockery quietly. But what happened here may have attracted the attention of the Zhang family, so Ye Feng decided to wait and see what happens. In view of the strength of the Zhang family leader, who is a strong martial artist and can see through the shadows, Ye Feng did not dare to stand there arrogantly. Instead, he found a bush in the corner and hid his body in it. In this way, even if the owner of the family comes over, he will basically not be discovered. Unless he knew in advance that he was hiding here, and then specially scanned this area with his senses, it would be absolutely impossible to find him. It was almost as expected by Ye Feng. After something happened here, someone informed Zhang Yin, who was still celebrating his birthday party over there. Saying goodbye to the guests, he quickly headed to the backyard. Master! All the martial arts sects in the backyard saluted Zhang Yin respectfully. Well, have you asked for any information? I've basically finished asking. He was sent by the Sun family, and the infiltrator was also dragged away to feed the insects. Humph! The Sun family is this sworn enemy again. Just wait, one day I will make the Sun family fall apart. Zhang Yin snorted coldly, and then said to everyone, there are many guests tonight, and those sworn enemies will probably send people to fish in troubled waters. Please be careful not to make any mistakes. Yes, master. Zhang Yin looked at the rockery in front of him, with an inexplicable light flashing in his eyes. I saw him approaching and turning a raised stone on the rockery. Rumble. In the middle of the rockery, the stone wall cracked from the middle, moved left and right, and an entrance appeared. The entrance is not big, only big enough for one person to go in. There is a long passage from which a faint light comes out. Zhang Yin walked into it, and the rocks moved and closed again, returning to their original appearance. The nearby Wuzong had long been accustomed to the strange situation and silently stood around. Chapter 83. Ho! After a while, a beast-like sound came from the direction of the rockery. The source of the sound was very much like it came from the passage where Zhang Yin entered just now. Maybe because the entrance is sealed more tightly, the sound cannot be transmitted well. In short, the sound has become a little weak when it reaches Ye Feng in the distance. The expressions on the faces of several Wuzong guarding near the rockery remained unchanged. There was just that sound, and it quickly fell into silence. After a while, the entrance to the rockery opened and Zhang Yin came out. Compared with when he went in, he was no different. Everyone is guarded. If there is any suspicious person, just capture it and notify me. Zhang Yin gave stern instructions. Yes. Several Wuzong responded in unison, their voices sonorous and powerful. Zhang Yin left and returned to the birthday banquet over there to gather with the guests. As for the martial arts masters in the backyard, following Zhang Yin's instructions, they worked hard and paid attention to everything around them. Ye Feng took no action for the time being. Now hiding in the bushes, even if the distance is a bit far, as long as you move, there will inevitably be movement in the bushes. The Wuzong over there was on alert at this time, and was afraid of being discovered by them. Until the night gradually deepened. The birthday banquet was over, the outsiders left one after another, and Zhang Yin also went back to rest. No one was found to have sneaked into Jiang's house. Wuzong, who was guarding the backyard, gradually let down his guard. There were several hiding spots around the rockery. They returned to their respective hiding spots, half guarding and half resting. They are also human beings, and even if they have the martial arts realm, they cannot rest forever. Only then did Ye Feng cautiously emerge from the bushes. This little movement did not attract their attention. Ye Feng used shadow to the extreme, making it even more difficult to detect under the cover of night. Ye Feng approached the rockery, kept approaching, and finally came to the entrance. If you look closely at it, you can't see anything fishy. If you hadn't seen it in advance, you wouldn't have known that there was an entrance hidden here. Just turn the stone and the entrance will open. Ye Feng looked at a raised stone nearby. Unfortunately, this cannot be done. Once it is turned and the entrance is opened, the surrounding Wuzong will notice it immediately. Even if he couldn't be found, he would immediately call Zhang Yin. Ye Feng didn't have the ability to kill them all in an instant before calling Zhang Yin when the news came out from these martial sects. If Zhang Yin arrives in the end, he might be discovered again. Even if they are not discovered, it will make them more vigilant. And what was that beast-like sound just now? Ye Feng has not forgotten the voice he heard from a distance just now. What is hidden in the rockery passage is still unknown. This made Ye Feng very curious. Ye Feng still chose to go back again. In the backyard, I found a relatively remote and well-hidden corner and hid for the time being. Let's wait and see if there is an opportunity next. It's best for these martial arts sects to leave the backyard temporarily because of something. At that time, you can try to open the entrance and have a look. Time passes. It was the next day in a blink of an eye. Nothing has changed, the situation is no different from last night. Ye Feng continued to wait patiently. 5 days have passed since this time. For 5 days, these Wuzong had no intention of leaving the backyard. They were like nails, firmly stuck there. When you need to eat, someone will naturally bring it to you. Ye Feng couldn't stand it anymore. The warrior himself had a big appetite. In addition, he needed to run the shadow trace all the time, which made the consumption even more urgent. Helpless, I left several times during this period to go out to eat and drink, stop the ghost shadow and recover properly. When he came back, it was no different from when he left, and he didn't miss anything because of it. Just when Ye Feng was thinking about when to wait and whether to think of a trick to lure these people away. That night, the situation changed slightly. Zhang Yin, the head of the Zhang family, was holding a young man in his hand. Whoa! The boy looked young, about 15 or 16 years old. His hands and feet were tied with iron chains, his mouth was gagged, and he kept making frightened whines. But no matter how hard he struggled, he was destined to be unable to escape if he fell into Zhang Yun's hands. Zhang Yun came to the front of the rockery, turned the stone switch, the rocks moved, and the entrance to the passage appeared again. Zhang Yun walked in, and the entrance to the passage closed again. The boy's whining was too small to be heard. Ho! After a while, a strange sound came from inside again. But there are differences from last time. The sound last time sounded a bit like venting emotions, but this time, it sounded more like an excited roar. Rumble. The passage reopened and Zhang Yun walked out of it. In his hands, the boy who was still alive just now was limp and lifeless. The childish face had a look of horror frozen on it, and the whole face was lifeless. Take it and get rid of it. Zhang Yun threw the body away like a piece of garbage, directly to the ground, then turned and left. The nearest Wuzong took the initiative to pick up the body and went to the goo-raising area. It is very suitable to let some flesh-eating goo worms decompose the corpse. In less than a day, the corpse will be eaten cleanly, including flesh and bones, leaving no trace in this world. Ye Feng, who was hiding in the dark, frowned slightly when he witnessed what happened just now. What is the origin of that young man just now? After being captured, Zhang Yun sent him to the rockery. What happened inside? Things are getting weirder and weirder, and the problem with the rockery in Jiang's backyard is getting bigger and bigger. However, what happened just now did not allow Ye Feng to find the right time to enter. Do you have to keep waiting? Ye Feng didn't know how long he would have to wait. Judging from the current situation, there are many secrets in the rockery. The Zhang family probably won't leave this place unguarded. They must have multiple Wuzong guarding it continuously. If this is the case, there will basically be no opportunities. If you force your way in, unless you have the strength to compete with Wuzun, it would not be wise to force your way in. Suddenly, at this moment, a new treasure chest clue popped up in front of Ye Feng's eyes. Chapter 84. Treasure Box Clue, a purple, high-quality, treasure box appears in the Zhang family accounting room, please go and open it. There is no clue here yet, but unexpectedly a new treasure chest appears. The Zhang family accounting office is still within the Zhang family. Let's go and take a look now. If everything goes well, we'll open the purple treasure chest first. Ye Feng left the Zhang family backyard. Follow the purple arrow and head all the way to the Zhang family accounting room. Come to the accounting room. The lights were brightly lit inside, and from time to time there was the sound of shredded paper being turned over. The door was only half closed, leaving a gap. Ye Feng turned sideways and could just enter it. Inside the accounting room, there are rows of bookshelves with many account books and books placed on them. In the middle, there is a rectangular desk, and a man is working there. There was a black mole on the corner of his mouth, and 3 long curving whiskers grew out of the mole. His right thumb sometimes touched the mole, which was his habitual action, and sometimes he flipped through a page and stared at the account book in his hand. By the way, one person was used tonight, so the accounts need to be done. The man with the black mole pulled out the drawer under the desk, took out a ledger, and opened a page with names on it. Wang Jiaqiang, male, 16 years old, has a spiritual body. Li Sheng, male, age 15, Cheng Mu spirit body. Zhang Miao Miao, female, age 15. At this time, Ye Feng was already behind the man with the black mole and could clearly see the information recorded on it. The format is almost the same, with names, gender, age, and physical constitution marked at the end. They have 2 things in common. First, they are not too old and belong to the category of boys and girls. Secondly, they all have physiques, and they are all wood-type physiques. Some of this row of personnel information has been crossed out. What does it mean specifically? Ye Feng couldn't help but think that the young man who was taken to the backyard just now actually had a suspicion in his mind. Then I saw the man with the black mole, picked up the pen, and heavily underlined a line that had not been underlined before. A young man named Chen Bin. Ye Feng lowered his gaze and glanced at the treasure chest. It was exactly where the man with the black mole was sitting. The treasure chest is actually not that big, otherwise it would not have existed in the human body before. Therefore, at this time, the man with the black mole was sitting, and the treasure box was exactly the same, embedded in his body. Ye Feng tried several times but had no chance to touch the treasure chest. As the person who manages the accounts of the Zhang family, it even involves the boys and girls. Although Ye Feng doesn't know the ins and outs of this for the time being, it can be seen that this person is quite trusted in the Zhang family. You can't touch him now, otherwise it will soon attract the attention of the Zhang family's senior management. Just then, footsteps came from outside the door. The man with the black mole quickly opened the drawer and put back the account book in his hand. A beautiful woman walked in and closed the door behind her. Why are you here so late at night? If the fourth elder discovers this. Halfway through the man's words, the beautiful woman blocked his mouth with her hand. Don't mention that damn ghost. He went off to live and drink. He said with a charming smile, he is doing his thing, and we are doing ours. The man with the black mole swallowed hard and pounced on the beautiful woman. Look at how anxious you are, go to the inner room. The two of them chatted with each other and walked towards the separation. You have to help me pay off the money I spent before. That's for sure. If you don't tell me, I will help you get rid of it. In the midst of the raging war, these conversations were still vaguely heard. On the seat in front of him, there was no obstruction from the man with the black mole. The purple treasure box could be touched with his hand. Ye Feng touched it. Snap! You opened a purple, high-quality, treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 cards of energy and blood. Complete understanding of the 5th level movement technique flowing cloud step. Both items are very good. Merge. As Ye Feng gave the order, the energy and blood in Ye Feng's body surged rapidly in a short period of time. From the original 36,000 cards, it has been increased to 66,000 cards. After the Soul Master's realm broke through to the king level peak, the Chi Blood Warrior's realm also rose to several smaller realms, breaking through to the Martial King's peak. It is not far away from the early stage of Wuzong, only 15,000 calories of energy and blood are missing. The flowing cloud step is a 5th level movement technique. After fusion, Ye Feng directly masters the perfect flowing cloud step. With just a slight movement, he is much faster than before without moving the movement technique. Of course, inside the house, there is no way to test it as much as you want for the time being. Ye Feng was in the room, strolling around for a while, and couldn't help but look at the drawer just now. Gently pull out the drawer and take out the account book about boys and girls. There are a total of about 10 pages, recording many names, but most of them have been crossed out. There are about 20 names that have not been crossed out. Cross out one every 10 days. The crossed out dates are also marked. The dates are very regular. If they are every 10 days apart, one will be crossed out. Ye Feng fell into deep thought, and soon looked at a nearby desk, where there was a copy machine, and he made a copy of the account book. At the same time, I also took other account books from the nearby bookshelf and copied a few pages. After doing this, everything in the house will return to its original state. Ye Feng wanted to secretly open the door and leave while the two of them were fighting inside, because the door was closed by the beautiful woman just now. Unexpectedly, the commotion in the room gradually subsided. What a fast shot! The two arranged their clothes and walked out. Don't forget to settle the account with me. The beautiful woman warned her, opened the door, and left. Don't worry, my little sweetheart. The man with the black mole was extremely greasy and said meanly. Satisfied, he sat down on his seat, picked up the account book again and opened it. He didn't realize at all that some things in the house had been touched. Ye Feng didn't stay long and followed the beautiful woman out of the accounting room. Coming outside, Ye Feng thought about the next thing. Judging from the observations these days, it is estimated that it will be difficult to remove the guards from the Zhang family's backyard. Unless something big happens, there is a shortage of manpower, or someone is watching, and some secrets need to be transferred. Anyway, from Ye Feng's point of view, the backyard definitely holds a huge secret. When Ye Feng copied the account books just now, he was thinking about whether he could expose this incident through some channels and get the Security Bureau to intervene, or even the Yanlong army. Anyway, only you can see the treasure chest, and no one else can get it. No matter how big the trouble is, you are not afraid of others taking away the treasure chest. If things get serious, the Zhang family will be under great pressure. Only then will there be an opportunity to take advantage of it, instead of just sitting on it day by day, as nothing will change. Well, let's do it like this. Ye Feng made up his mind to use other forces to put pressure on the Zhang family and disrupt their position. And at this moment, a new clue prompt for the treasure chest popped up again. Is there another treasure chest? I just opened one, and the process was extremely smooth. Unexpectedly, I had another treasure chest clue. Ye Feng quickly checked the clue information of the treasure box. Treasure box clue, Wuxi Hall, a purple, high-quality, treasure box appears. Please go and open it. Chapter 85. Wu's Hall. Ye Feng muttered something secretly, not quite sure where it was. Fortunately, there are arrows to guide you, just follow it. Since there was a treasure chest now, Ye Feng simply followed the treasure chest arrow and went over to open the treasure chest. The things given by the purple treasure box are all good things for the current Ye Feng. The improvements brought about are huge. As long as you are strong enough, you will have much less worries when you open the red treasure chest. Ye Feng followed the purple arrow until he reached the wall of the Zhang family manor, and the arrow climbed all the way over. So it's not in the Zhang family. Ye Feng originally thought that just like the treasure box in the accounting room, Wuxi Hall was also located in a certain building in the Zhang family's mansion. It turns out that it is not, at this rate, outside the Zhang family. Without much hesitation, Ye Feng exerted force on his feet, jumped over the tall wall, and came to the street outside. At this time, the night was dark and windy. There were not many pedestrians on the street outside. Ye Feng used flowing cloud step with all his strength. Even if the stealth technique disappeared because of it, it didn't matter. He was already outside, so there was no need to worry too much. Whoosh! With the full support of Lu Yunbu, the already fast movement speed became even faster. His figure was like lightning, appearing at the other end of the street from one end of the street in almost the blink of an eye. This speed is comparable to that of Wu Zong. Such extreme movement, the speed has exceeded 2,500 meters per second, which is more than 7 times the speed of sound, a proper martial arts speed. If he didn't use Liu Yun's step and only relied on King Wu's peak strength, he could reach the sky at a speed of more than 1,000 meters per second. It can be seen that a good movement technique can bring about a strong increase in speed. Wuxi Hall is about 100 kilometers away from the Zhang family's mansion. If you move at extreme speed, you can reach it in just 40 seconds. But after all, we are on the ground, so we can't rush all the way. We need to pay attention, otherwise if we hit a pedestrian, the other person will probably turn into a pool of blood. Slowing down the speed slightly, it finally took only 2 minutes to reach Wuxi Hall, which was 100 kilometers away. Ye Feng ran the shadow to hide his figure. Looking at the building in front of you, you can see that it is a majestic lobby, covering a large area and leaning towards the ancient style. Right above the gate, there is a long plaque hanging with 3 large gilded characters of Wuxi Tang written one stroke after another. It is quite imposing, and there is a wind of martial arts coming towards you. This is not an area that Ye Feng is familiar with. Ye Feng doesn't know what the so-called Wuxi Hall is for. There is a way, it should be possible to find out. Ye Feng used his tactical watch to surf the internet, locate this place, and search for keywords on the internet. The information came out very quickly, and after reading it for a while, I immediately understood it. The so-called Wuxi Hall is a place that provides people with martial arts practice strategies. The process is roughly like this. For example, a person who has just entered martial arts is not sure what kind of training plan will help him to the greatest extent and quickly improve his strength. You can find Wuxi Tang and tell the people at Wuxi Tang about your situation. The warriors at Wuxi Tang will give you a reasonable martial arts plan based on the specific situation of the consultant. These include, what martial arts to major in, what type of supplementary medicine to take, and so on. Meticulous tailoring is much more detailed than the unified teaching situation of school teachers. Those who are not short of money may come to Wuxi Hall to inquire about relevant plans. At this time, Wuxi Hall has gone out of business and the door is closed. It seemed that Ye Feng knew that it was impossible to break in through the front door. The arrow on the treasure box was not pointing to the front door, but towards the back of the building. Ye Feng followed the arrow, entered from the side alley, walked for a while, and finally came to the back of the lobby. Hurry! Drive the car in! At the back of Wuxi Hall, there is a back door, which is open. There was a car. The glass in the car was as black as ink, with no light transmittance, and it was impossible to see what was going on inside. The vehicle was driving at a constant speed, and with the sound of urging, it drove into the inner yard. Ye Feng used shadow at this time, and the members here were not very strong, so they were completely unable to detect Ye Feng's existence. Before they closed the back door again, Ye Feng also slipped in. In the courtyard, the vehicles have stopped. The 2 people got out of the car, opened the back compartment, and pulled out 2 long sacks, which contained cargo and were quite heavy. The 2 were warriors. They grabbed the goods and carried them on their shoulders. The weight of nearly 100 kilograms was not heavy for them. The familiar man carried the sacks to the room and opened them, each containing an unconscious person. A man and a woman, both young and looked like teenagers. Let me see which 2. Another person came in outside the door. He is a middle-aged man with a serious face and a fierce look between his eyebrows. He glanced at the 2 people who were in a coma, and felt familiar. There were too many people consulting every day, and it was impossible to remember them all, especially since it had been a while, so he only had a rough impression. I had to use facial recognition to find out the previously entered information. Soon, information about the 2 people emerged. The man's name is Shi Hao and the woman's name is Ding Shuet. They are both only 15 years old, and both have a wood-type physique. Regarding their identities, they had already been asked and recorded as early as when they came to Wu's Hall as clients, accompanied by their parents, to consult on the practice plan. Wuxi Hall has a large number of customers every day, and of course not every one of them has a wood attribute physique. But as long as you have a wood attribute physique, you will be targeted by Wuxi Tang. They will not come out openly, but will mark the information with special marks. After a while, they would send people to the area where they were active, kidnap the people, and bring them to Wuxi Hall. There are many rooms in the back hall, and strangers are not allowed to enter. When it was originally built, preparations were made for the rooms. The materials used in the rooms are special and very strong. Even martial arts masters can be imprisoned, let alone some young people who have just entered martial arts. Even if they wake up now, they cannot escape. It is no different from a prison. At its peak, there were more than 40 people imprisoned, but recently there have been fewer arrests. One person has to be sent out secretly every 10 days to the Zhang family's mansion, and the use is getting smaller and smaller. Now there are only more than 20 people left. The people they captured were no different from goods in their eyes. Since they were goods, they should keep accounts. There is a record here, and there is also a record on the Zhang family's side. Originally, since there were 2 new people here, they should have contacted the Zhang family immediately to inform them of the matter. But they didn't do this, because they didn't want to use communication, which would easily leave clues. Instead, they waited until the next time they sent someone over and informed them together. Hall Master, why does the Zhang family always need young people with wooden attributes? Over the years, we have captured many and sent many away. What are those people doing? The person who was carrying the sack just now said a little puzzled. Just after I finished speaking, I felt an icy chill. Chapter 86. The Hall Master's cold gaze was like a sharp knife, making him almost tremble at the sight. Don't ask so many questions about things you shouldn't know, the Hall Master said coldly and sympathetically. Although he is also curious, being too curious can sometimes lead to death. No matter what the Zhang family told them to do, they would just follow the instructions and get a lot of rewards. Yes. The man responded quickly. The personnel exit and lock the room. It's all taken care of. The hall leader gave a low drink and left the back hall. Although the room is made of special materials and is extremely strong, it still needs to be guarded, and there are 5 guard members. Ye Feng came outside a certain room. Through the crack in the door, it can be seen that there are several people detained inside, and they are all asleep. Maybe when I was first arrested, I felt panic and struggle, and I also had thoughts of running away. I couldn't eat well and couldn't sleep well. But as time went by, I couldn't keep fussing like that, and gradually I became quieter and could sleep. Treasure chest. Through the crack in the door, Ye Feng could see that the treasure box was inside, placed in the middle of the room. Ye Feng turned back with cold eyes and glanced at the guards gathered together. The door to the room where the treasure chest is located is locked. If you want to enter, you have to open it, otherwise you will be noticed by the guards. Then, these guards can only be. Hiss. Why do I feel a little chilly all of a sudden? Look, the hairs on my arms are standing on end. Not to mention, I also suddenly had a very bad feeling, but I couldn't explain what happened. Several guards were naturally and inexplicably panicked the moment they were stared at by Ye Feng. Suddenly at this moment. Who? Several guards shouted in unison. Under the cover of night, a group of mysterious warriors, wearing night clothes, appeared quietly like ghosts under the cover of night, and climbed directly over the wall. Their expressions were tense and determined at the same time, and their eyes revealed eagerness and anxiety. Wu's Hall, there must be something wrong. Our missing children must have been kidnapped by them. Kill them and save our children. Several people in this group are the parents of the missing members. They didn't know each other originally, but they got to know each other during the process of searching for the children because their children were missing. Talking about the details before the disappearance, everyone found that they were surprisingly unanimous, that is, their children all had would attribute physiques and had come to Wuxi Hall to consult on training strategies. Coincidence? It's definitely not that coincidental. After discussion, they decided to come together in person to find out what happened, and that's how things happened now. Humph. Break into my martial arts hall at night and seek death. The 5 guards all showed their weapons and got into a melee with several people who rushed towards them. In an instant, the light of swords flashed, figures intertwined, shouts of killing and the sounds of weapons clashing intertwined in the back hall. Laugh. One of the guards was injured by an accident, and he took several steps back with a horrified look on his face. So strong. They were actually outmatched and quickly fell into a disadvantage. They were forced into a disadvantage by the rescuers. The situation was very pessimistic. It is true that the children of the rescuers have embarked on the martial arts journey in their teens and have wood-type physiques. Obviously their genes are not bad. As parents, they are also very strong. I originally thought that Wu's Hall was more professional, so I paid them to make suggestions and formulate training plans. Who knew that it was actually a trap? The purpose was just to allow them to screen out people with wood attribute talents from the vast sea of people. Who comes to my Wuxi Hall to act so arrogantly? The fierce fighting sound here finally alerted the hall master. Boom! As the hall master shouted violently, the powerful aura that belonged to King Wu surged in like a mighty mountain. Along with him came a group of powerful military generals and thugs. Among the rescuers, the strongest ones were only late-stage generals. When facing the hall master and others, their expressions changed drastically, and their secrets were not good. It's not like they didn't expect that the leader of Wuxi Hall was not something they could deal with. But he was so eager to save his son that he couldn't care about so much. He wanted to make a quick decision and took advantage of the darkness to quickly knock down the guard, rescue his children quickly, and leave immediately. However, this hall master came so quickly. You broke into my martial arts hall at night, I think you are tired of living. The hall master's eyes were cold and murderous, and he came over with a sword in hand. So strong. It's over. This momentum alone is not something they can resist. It is almost foreseeable that they will suffer. After learning the secret of Wuxi Hall and falling into their hands, there is absolutely no way to get out again. Just when everyone thought they were bound to die. At the critical moment. Whoosh! Several shuttle knives, as thin as cicada wings and flashing with cold light, were driven by the soul power and flew out quickly from behind a thick pillar. The shuttle sword seemed to have come to life. It shuttled between the enemies at high speed, bringing out sharp rays of light. The speed was so fast that even the hall master of the martial king realm could not react and was completely unable to resist. Ah! Blood splattered everywhere and screams continued. They had no power to resist at all, and there were many wounds on their bodies. Especially the hall master, who was given special care, was immediately crippled and fell to the ground wailing, losing all combat effectiveness. The incident was so sudden that all the rescue teams were stunned for a moment. I thought I was going to be doomed, but unexpectedly all my enemies fell. Which senior came to the rescue? Everyone was frightened and looked around. Finally, they all concentrated in the direction of the pillar behind them. If they remembered correctly, the attack just now came from behind them. However, when I went to check, there was no one at all. Senior should still be around, but he just doesn't want to show up. There are some seniors who don't like to show off. Thank you, senior, for your help. Although they could not see their seniors in person, it did not prevent them from expressing their gratitude. If the seniors were still present, they would be able to receive their thanks. Hey? This is... On the ground behind the pillar, there were 2 documents, which they picked up and looked at. One of them contained many names and identity information. They can even find their children's names in it. Some of the names have been crossed out, while others have not. Parents who see their children's names crossed out feel an ominous premonition in their hearts. The other document contained some expenditure details and had the signature seal of the Zhang family. Zhang family. The Zhang family is very famous, a famous family in the Lingnan province. Why does the Zhang family's account book appear here in Wuxi Hall? They carefully studied the two documents, most of which were printed and a small part of which were handwritten. Look at the handwriting. It's the same. In the small part that requires handwriting, the handwriting of the two documents is actually the same, written by the same person. The person arrested by Wu Si Tang had the same handwriting on the book that recorded the information as the Zhang family's account book. Behind the incident is the Zhang family. Chapter 87. Everyone felt chills running down their spines. It was the Zhang family who was causing trouble. These two documents should have been left by the senior who came to the rescue just now. He did not kill the hall master and those people. The purpose was to keep alive and leave these evidences to expose us. They want to understand the key. But, that's the Zhang family. There was a tall, thin man who was frightened by the Zhang family's name. He didn't even have the courage to face such a behemoth. Why, are you scared? Have you ever thought that your child is probably in danger? People around me criticized him mercilessly. I just noticed that the name of the tall, thin man's child has been crossed out. No matter how much they said, it was better to verify it for themselves. They broke open the door and released all the children locked inside. The children were saved and all burst into tears. Dad, I didn't expect you to come to save me. It's okay, don't cry. When the children's emotions stabilized, after some questioning, they finally got the answer. It is said that among the people who were imprisoned together, one of them would be taken away from time to time and never come back again. Indeed, it's a disaster. The timid tall and thin man's eyes were red at this time. No matter who is from the Zhang family or not, he will expose the matter and let these bastards get the punishment they deserve. They immediately reported the incident overnight. Now there is evidence pointing directly at the Zhang family. But before that, another preparation was made, which was to contact a number of well-known media to expose the matter. They need to build up the buzz first and get more attention, and they will be more confident. After all, the opponent is the huge Zhang family. In front of the Zhang family, they are just nobody. If they want to overthrow the Zhang family, they need to build momentum for themselves. While they were doing these things, Feng secretly used shadow to witness everything. Just now, the spirit power controlled the shuttle knife and injured the hall master and others. It was indeed Feng's hand. At that time, he was behind the stone pillar. When he took action, his figure appeared. When he retreated, he used shadow trace again, leaving two documents behind and left that position. The whole process was very short. By the time everyone reacted and went behind the stone pillar, Feng had already disappeared. The purpose of copying the documents from the accounting room was to expose the Zhang family and allow many forces to put pressure on the Zhang family. By doing this now, we can just borrow the help of the rescuers and others to expose the matter, so as to avoid having to think of another solution on our own. Feng started and walked into the room. There was a purple treasure box in the middle. Go close and touch it. Snap! You opened a purple, high-quality, treasure box. Congratulations on getting 30,000 points of soul power, 30,000 cards of energy and blood. Not bad, not bad. I have both soul power and energy and blood. This purple treasure chest is powerful enough to release soul power and chi and blood, each of which is a full 30,000. Looking at the two masses of energy, Feng issued the command, merge, boom. The soul power and blood in the body surged rapidly in a short period of time. Let's talk about soul power first. From the previous 57,000 points, the soul power has skyrocketed to 87,000 points. The soul master has broken through a great realm, from the peak of king level to the early stage of zone level. As for the energy and blood, it increased sharply from 66,000 calories to 96,000 calories. The realm of the chi and blood warriors has also broken through a great realm, from the peak of the martial king to the early stage of the martial sect. The sect level levels of warriors and soul masters, and the corresponding promotion numerical lines for the four small realms are 81,000, early stage, 108,000, mid stage, 135,000, late stage, 162,000, peak. A treasure box gave Feng a huge breakthrough in his realm and brought a huge improvement to his strength. Feeling the infinite power in his body, Feng became more confident. At this moment, the media people who came after hearing the news had arrived at Wuxi Hall. If something like this happened, if it were true, it would be huge news, and it would naturally come very quickly. They immediately conducted interviews with several people present, asked about the ins and outs of the incident, and took pictures everywhere in the Wuxi Hall. After collecting enough information, I went back and published the headlines overnight. The security bureau that received the report also had many people come. The case involved a big family like the Zhang family, and they took it very seriously. If it is not handled well, it will have a huge impact, especially now that several well-known media have learned about the matter. After the report is published, it will attract attention from all walks of life. Mysterious Senior. In the process of questioning the case, a mysterious person cannot be avoided. This person was suspected of being a soul master, and he was hiding in secret. Everyone in Wuxi Hall was injured by this mysterious person, and left key evidence, 2 documents with the same handwriting, pointing the finger at the Zhang family. But now, it is almost impossible to find this person. Because no one present had seen this person, and had no trace of him at all. They even called out the surveillance cameras near Wuxi Hall and checked a large area, but they also didn't see any suspicious characters. What they didn't know was that when Ye Feng was still quite a distance away from Wuxi Hall, he slowed down his speed, then used shadow trace to get closer to Wuxi Hall. With the cover of stealth, of course they couldn't see Ye Feng. Let the matters here ferment naturally, and Ye Feng hurried back to Jiang's house. Came to the Zhang family's backyard again, hid in the darkness, and paid attention to the changes in the situation. Time comes the next day. The headlines of major news outlets published an eye-popping piece of news. Shocked. Wuxi Tang, who advises you, actually did such a thing behind your back, and even involved the Zhang family. The title is enlarged, bolded and marked in red, and it appears brightly in people's sight. After clicking in, browsing the content roughly, it caused an uproar on the internet. It's so dark. It's actually under the guise of collecting information and kidnapping children. What are they doing by kidnapping so many children? How could a big and respectable family like the Zhang family get involved in something like this? It turns out that Wuxi Tang kidnapped my child who disappeared. The news mentioned a mysterious and powerful soul master. It was because of him that the matter had a chance to be exposed. Otherwise, the bodies of those who went to rescue the child would have been cold by now. Thank you to the senior soul master, otherwise Wuxi Tang would have harmed many more people. Wuxi Tang must be severely punished. The Zhang family must be severely punished. The case is still under review, and we have to wait for the official announcement to know the specifics. While being hotly debated on the internet. Zhang family. In the reception hall, the atmosphere was a little tense. Zhang Yan and several elders were sitting on one side. On the other side, there were several people wearing police uniforms. If Ye Feng were here, he would still see an acquaintance. Chapter 88. This acquaintance whom Ye Feng had met once was Lu Xianhua. In Linhai City, after the incident at the security bureau, Lu Xianhua arrived there and told everyone not to investigate the human blood pill incident and just let the Yanlong army intervene. Now, if something like this happens in the provincial government, the impact will be extremely bad. As the deputy director of the provincial bureau, if such bad things happen in his territory and involve behemoths like the Zhang family, he must step in to deter them. Director Lu, I think this matter must be framed by someone. The forces that have enmity with my Zhang family have long wanted to kill my Zhang family. They probably sent people to sneak into my Zhang family's accounting room. I stole the account book, imitated the handwriting, and forged a list of people, making people mistakenly think that my Zhang family was behind it. You must be aware of everything and give my Zhang family justice. Zhang Yan's tone was very sincere and he pretended to be innocent. There was no way to tell what kind of anger he had in his heart at this moment. Everything has been fine for these years, why did something like this suddenly happen? He, the Zhang family, also had an intelligence department, and he learned the news quite early, but at that time Lu Xianhua and his men had already come to the door, leaving him no time to react. In front of Lu Xianhua, he was quite honest. Although he, Zhang Yin, is very powerful and has the martial master realm, the person in front of him is a respected soul master. They were in the same realm, but the soul master's combat power was much stronger than him, so he didn't dare to make any mistakes. Whether it is unjust or not, there will be a result soon. Lu Xianhua said lightly. This time he brought a lot of people. From the moment he entered the Zhang family, he asked the people to disperse and controlled every place to prevent the Zhang family from walking around at will. The Zhang family's accounting office is the primary search target. Bureau Lu. 2 police officers hurried in from outside, carrying a document, and the man with the black mole who was escorting the counting house. Director Lu, look, this list of people is the same as the one found in Wuxi Hall. There is also this person who manages the Zhang family's account books, and the handwriting is from his hand. Lu Xianhua glanced at the man with the mole and took the document handed over by the police officer. Opening it and checking, it was indeed exactly the same as the list of people found in Wuxi Hall. Master Zhang, please explain why something like this appears in your Zhang family. Lu Xianhua pointed to the list of people in his hand and said to Zhang Yin. This. Zhang Yin was speechless for a moment, his eyes moving rapidly. This is easy to understand, right? As I said just now, someone sneaked into my Zhang family's accounting room, took away some account books, and then imitated the handwriting and forged the list of people. One copy was placed in my Zhang family's accounting room, and the other was the purpose of staying in Wuxi Hall is to frame my Zhang family's relationship with Wuxi Hall. When Zhang Yin said this, he changed the subject. Also, didn't it say that a mysterious soul master appeared over at Wuxi Hall? I seriously suspect that this person did it. You should find this person and interrogate him strictly, and you will naturally get the answer. Of course we will find ways to find that person, but before that, you can't escape suspicion. Speaking of which, Lu Xianhua suddenly received a call. A report came from the other end of the phone. Bureau Lu, all the people from Wuxi Hall have been recruited. They said that all the people caught before were sent to the Zhang family. Well, I understand. After hanging up the communication, Lu Xianhua stood up and looked at Zhang Yin. His eyes were like lightning, and his soul power was faintly mobilized, ready to go. Whenever Zhang Yin acted rashly, he would use force to subdue him. Zhang Yin, I want to inform you that all senior officials of the Zhang family will follow me to the police station for investigation. Lu Xianhua's tone did not allow for refutation. The energy and blood in Zhang Yin's body also began to stir up, and the muscles all over his body were tense, with the potential to suddenly explode. But under Lu Xianhua's gaze, reason defeated impulse, and he did not dare to make a mistake after all. He, Zhang Yin, would not be Lu Xianhua's opponent. Although Wu Tang has already confessed, he had already thought that such a day would come, so every time he accepted someone, he was very careful not to leave any obvious evidence. If there is no irrefutable proof that the person arrested by Wu Tang was sent to the Zhang family, then there is still room for maneuver based on the handwriting on the bill. It's just, all the high-level officials, including the martial arts sects in the backyard. He didn't want the backyard to be left unattended, but it would look very suspicious if he didn't. It would be bad if it attracted Lu Xianhua's attention and focused on searching the backyard. In a short period of time, the thoughts in Zhang Yin's mind flashed rapidly. Helpless, he had no choice but to follow the instructions and contact all the senior officials to come over. Master, let's go over there. This way. When receiving the notice, Wu Zong in the backyard was a little hesitant. Stop talking nonsense, come here immediately. Zhang Yin's tone increased and he didn't say much to avoid arousing Lu Xianhua's suspicion. Wu Zong in the backyard had no choice but to do as he was told, left the backyard and headed to the living room. Ye Feng, who was hiding in the dark at this time, saw Wu Zong of the Zhang family leaving, but did not take any action. He still used shadow to stay in a hidden corner. The Zhang family will probably be summoned to the police station for interrogation and investigation. Otherwise, Wu Zong here will probably not leave. Then wait a little longer until they leave the Zhang family. After a while, another group of people came to the backyard. They were wearing police uniforms and were police officers who were ordered to search to see if they could find some important evidence. Maybe I had a preconception that the backyard was not a very important place, so I just briefly explored it, didn't find much, and left quickly. They focused on the more important buildings of the Zhang family. In the end, not many valuable clues were found. It can only be said that the Zhang family has mastered the methods of destroying corpses and eliminating traces, without leaving too many traces. Under the escort of Lu Xianhua, many senior officials of the Zhang family, headed by Zhang Yin, were taken out of the Zhang family. Many media reporters gathered outside, waiting for this moment to take pictures outside. Although they really wanted to come forward for an interview, at this time, the case had not been finalized and it was impossible to accept their interview. They could only shoot some scenes outside the cordon and make first-hand reports. When the police car quickly drove away, the media also dispersed. Backyard. Ye Feng came down from the courtyard wall. He had just seen from a distance the long line of police cars driving away on the avenue. He knew that all the senior officials of the Zhang family had been taken away by the police. Red treasure chest. Ye Feng looked at the rockery over there, and the red arrow pointed all the way there. Now that the Zhang family's masters are empty, it's a good time to open the treasure chest. Ye Feng took a deep breath. The soul power in his mind and the energy and blood in his body were always ready to deal with the crisis at any time. I want to see what secrets there are in it. Ye Feng stretched out his hand, pressed on the raised stone, and turned it hard. The mechanism was triggered, and an entrance rumbled out in the middle of the rockery. A long passage appeared in front of Ye Feng's eyes, like a man-eating beast with its bloody mouth open. Chapter 89. Ye Feng took steps and walked inside. Not only is he using shadow trace, but the Yunsang vine on his body is also tightly wrapped to provide maximum protection. The height and width of the passage are 2 meters, neither big nor small. Ye Feng takes neither speed nor speed, and takes every step quietly. Until finally, they came to a spacious cave. It's square and square, without too many furnishings. There is a jade box placed on a square stone in the corner. From the warm color of the jade box, you can see that it is of great value. The box made of beautiful jade and the items placed in it are definitely not ordinary. Ye Feng walked over, picked up the jade box, and opened it. Could this be God-eating moss? Ye Feng took a breath and his eyes lit up. When I first obtained Mu Bufen's research diary, I saw this piece of information: the God-eating moss seedlings were taken away by the Zhang family. Ye Feng sneaked into Jiang's house for 2 purposes, to open the red treasure chest, and also to get the God-eating moss seedling. I thought that I would have to look for it later, but I didn't expect that God-eating moss was placed in the rockery, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Ye Feng carefully looked at the God-eating moss seedlings. Its current state is very dry, and there is not much moisture visible. It is dry, black in color, and does not have much vitality. It is like dried moss, just placed in the jade box. Dead? Or the God-eating moss has been in the hands of the Zhang family for 20 years. The current state it is in can only mean that the Zhang family has not been able to develop a plan to cultivate it. Ye Feng was not sure whether he was dead or not. He took him away first and then studied it slowly. Ye Feng looked forward. Inside the cave, there is an entrance leading to a deeper cave. The red arrow on the treasure chest extends all the way inside. Looking at it from this angle, you can see that there is a cyan wooden thing inside. As he got closer and entered inside, the outline of the thing completely appeared in front of Ye Feng's eyes. A coffin made of eternal green wood. There is a rare tree called eternal green. It is extremely green, full of vitality, and contains rich wood attribute energy. Even if it is cut down, it can still maintain its vitality and remain green for thousands of years. Of course, no one has verified whether it can really last 10,000 years, and whether it is an exaggeration or not is unknown. Coffin. Ye Feng couldn't help but frown. When looking at this coffin, Ye Feng always feels uncomfortable. But by chance, the arrow on the red treasure box points to this coffin, which means that the red treasure box is inside the coffin. If you want to open the treasure chest, you must be Ye Feng himself and touch it personally. You cannot use other means, such as indirect contact with objects. Must go. Ye Feng took a deep breath, concentrated his energy, and approached the coffin step by step. The coffin has a lid, which needs to be opened. Ye Feng directed the Yunsang vine to divide into several vines, stretched them towards the coffin lid, and moved it away bit by bit. A pale face that looked exactly like Zhang Yin, but was much older, appeared in front of Ye Feng little by little. He was lying flat inside the coffin with his eyes closed tightly. At first glance, he thought it was a corpse, but it gave people a sense of crisis. The treasure chest emitting red light is located on the chest of the corpse. Fortunately, it is not embedded in the corpse, but located on top of the corpse. The sense of crisis was getting stronger and stronger. Ye Feng did not dare to hesitate. He reached out his right hand like lightning and touched the treasure box. Snap! You opened a red treasure box. Congratulations on obtaining the 6th level soul skill. Flowing shuttle brocade has been successfully comprehended. At the same time, base. The corpse in the coffin suddenly opened its eyes. The sense of crisis hit him like a needle. Back. Unable to think too much, Ye Feng quickly pulled his hand back, and his body quickly retreated. But the opponent's attack was really fast. At close range, the withered hand instantly grabbed the vital part of Ye Feng's neck. Yunsangtan. Ye Feng's eyes widened angrily, and the mulberry vines grew wildly, intertwining and tangled in front of him, forming a defensive net. Boom! The veteran hand, as dry as a branch, grabbed onto the defensive net. Its power was extremely terrifying. It exceeded the endurance limit of Yunsang Vine and was torn to pieces in an instant. However, it also bought a little time. Even if the masters exchange moves, even for a moment, they can affect the situation of the battle. Ye Feng's body turned into an afterimage, and he violently retreated out of the cave and came outside. During this process, Ye Feng shouted, "Merge!" Fusion of the flowing shuttle brocade just obtained. The insights about flowing brocade quickly filled Ye Feng's mind, and he also had a clear understanding of it. Boom! The sense of crisis is approaching again. In the rockery passage, a thin figure rushed out quickly. Ye Feng's eyes turned cold. The soul power was mobilized, and the bailing shuttle appeared. Flowing tapestry. The soul skills he just obtained were also used immediately. 100 spiritual shuttles became more agile, as if they had life. They turned into flowing light, with a silver-white thread trailing from their tails, which was condensed by soul power. The spiritual shuttles are intertwined and entwined, weaving a silver-white silk net in the void. Each silver thread carries unpredictable power and has extremely strong cutting ability. It can be used to attack when advancing, and it can be defended when retreating. The skinny old man didn't have much fear, and grabbed the silver mesh with one claw. Laugh! The two were in a stalemate, and terrifying energy fluctuations erupted from the point of contact between their hands and the net. Just the spilled power can cause the surrounding trees to explode and sawdust fly. The rockery behind him also suddenly collapses under the influence of the energy, and the gravel rolls down. Everything within the reach of the power is destroyed. So strong! Such a hard palm! Ye Feng was shocked inside. He is already a sect-level soul master, and now he has the blessing of 6th-level soul skills. It is no problem to deal with ordinary martial masters. But this old man, who looks haggard, waning in years, and sullen, is so powerful. It feels, not like an ordinary martial master realm. No wonder, in the rockery just now, the shadow trace was clearly running, but it was still seen through by the other party at a glance. Ye Feng couldn't help but think of the rumors about the head of the Zhang family when he was investigating the situation of the Zhang family. In recent years, the life and death of Mr. Jiang's family has not been known. The appearance and outline of the person in front of him are quite similar to Zhang Yin. The answer is ready to come out: this person is Patriarch Zhang. At the moment of the stalemate, Patriarch Zhang suddenly stopped and retreated. During this process, he withdrew part of his attention and focused in a certain direction. Ye Feng did the same, turning his head to look at the sky. High in the sky, there was a person stepping on a 9-section whip. It was a soul weapon, and it was coming towards this side quickly. Chapter 90. The visitor was none other than Lu Xianhua. He looked surprised at the scene below. Soul Master. This soul skill should be at the 6th level, right? Judging from the fluctuations in soul power, the man below is clearly a sect-level soul master and should be able to use 5th-level soul skills. But the one he used was of the 6th level, and he looked very skilled. He couldn't help but remember that in this incident, there was a key figure in Wuxi Hall, the mysterious soul master. Now, another soul master appears here. Are they the same person? As his thoughts flashed, Ye Feng had already retracted the bailing shuttle, formed a shield, took off and flew away quickly. Lu Xianhua wanted to catch up with Ye Feng and ask for details, but unfortunately conditions did not allow it. Because there are more important people to deal with. Where to escape? Patriarch Zhang took the opportunity to escape, knowing that he would not be Lu Xianhua's opponent. Prisoner. Lu Xianhua activated his soul power from high altitude, and the 9-section whip disintegrated. It split into a 9-section pillar-shaped weapon. He stepped on one of the pillars, and the remaining 8 pillars were quickly shot at Xiangjiang's family leader, and they quickly grew in size during the flight. Dong dong dong! 7 of them turned into thick pillars and were nailed around the body of the old family master Zhang. The pillars were connected with soul power to form a ball cage. The remaining pillar was inserted straight into the head. Down! Drink! Patriarch Zhang roared angrily, turned around and struck an upward palm. Boom! When the two phases collide, the terrifying energy forms ripples, advancing towards the surroundings layer by layer like waves. Wherever it passed, sand and rocks flew everywhere, and even the wall in the distance was blown to pieces. The entire Zhang family mansion was shaken, the building creaked, and all the Zhang family members looked towards the backyard with horrified faces. Lu Bureau is so strong. I just don't know who the opponent is. The head of the Zhang family has obviously been captured. Are there any other masters in the Zhang family? Several police officers in police uniforms looked at each other in surprise. When he left before, Lu Xianhua deliberately left a few police officers at Jiang's house to keep an eye on the Zhang family's activities. After that, the battle between Ye Feng and the head of the Zhang family also caused quite a stir, which attracted the attention of the police station there, who immediately contacted Lu Xianhua and informed the Zhang family of the abnormality. Lu Xianhua, who was still on his way to the police station, returned immediately after receiving the news. In order to speed up, he flew here by himself, and that's what happened next. The few police officers here were confused, but they did not dare to approach the backyard. In such a battle between strong men, if they go there, it will be difficult for anyone to die if they are affected. Backyard. Boom. Patriarch Zhang was ultimately defeated. He was suppressed by Lu Xianhua's attack and finally captured. What a pity. Lu Xianhua looked at the direction Ye Feng left just now, but could no longer find him. He wondered who it was. The whole body was wrapped with demonized plants, which seemed to be mulberry vines, and his face could not be seen clearly. There are not many such characters in Lingnan province who are able to fight with Patriarch Zhang and master 6th level soul skills. He recalled those soul masters who had been famous for a long time, but none of them matched the situation just now. But this trip was not without its rewards. Zhang Shishang, the old head of the Zhang family. The man who had not been heard from since 4 years ago suddenly appeared like this. This person has a very strong vitality, and he is supposed to be dying, but why does he seem to be in his prime, with strong energy and blood, and strong strength? Thinking of the missing would attribute talents one by one, the answer gradually became clear. Shen district is a prosperous area. A team of police cars drove towards the police station at a constant speed. On top of every police car, there is a veteran Wuzongjing policeman sitting on duty. In normal times, such a luxurious lineup would give people a complete sense of security, and there would not be many suspects who could resist such a team. But it was different today. They were escorting a number of senior officials from the Zhang family, and there were also many from the Wuzong realm. What's even more amazing is that there is such a strong martial artist like Zhang Yin. Originally, with Deputy Director Lu Xianhua holding the line, everyone could feel more at ease, but now, Deputy Director Lu received urgent information and left temporarily. The police officers seemed to have lost their backbone and became a little nervous. Zhang Yin was inside the leading police car. In the remaining 3 seats, there was a Wuzong police officer sitting in each. They pretended to be relaxed on the surface, but in fact they were a little uneasy in their hearts. They kept mumbling in their hearts, hoping that Director Lu would come back soon. But then I thought about it, although they were not as strong as Zhang Yin, they now represented an official force like the Security Bureau. If Zhang Yin dares to act rashly, he will be hunted endlessly, and all that awaits him is continuous escape. Unless it was time to break the net, Zhang Yin would not forcefully escape. You, Director Lu, what are you doing? Zhang Yin tried his best to keep his tone casual and normal, as if he was just asking a casual question. I don't know. Maybe there's something going on nearby. I'll be back soon. The police officer on the side also pretended to answer as if nothing had happened. Zhang Yin stopped talking and glanced in the direction of Jiang's house intentionally or unintentionally. The direction Lu Xianhua was heading just now was to his Zhang family's mansion. Could something happen over there? What he was most worried about was what happened in the backyard. If what happened in the backyard came to light, he would have no room for maneuver. Everything he did was outrageous. After the Security Bureau investigates clearly, they will never let him go. Therefore, the crux of the problem now is that if Lu Xianhua really finds out what happened in the backyard, then he cannot just sit back and wait for death. He honestly follows them to the police station. If he goes there, he will die. He can't even deal with Deputy Director Lu, let alone the chief officer, who is no match for him. But now, he is still holding on to luck. If the incident in the backyard is not exposed, he will cooperate honestly, deal with it, and settle the matter. There will be peaceful days in the future and he can still be the head of his Zhang family. Just when Zhang Yin couldn't make up his mind. Tisk. The screeching sound of tires was heard sharply. The leading vehicle braked suddenly in desperation, and the following vehicles nearly rear-ended each other and also braked suddenly. The people in the car moved forward with inertia. Fortunately, they were all warriors with good strength. They quickly removed their strength and stopped their bodies. When the lead vehicle came to a complete stop, the police officer could see a person standing in front of him through the windshield. It was clearly not there just now. It was as if he suddenly appeared, or, in other words, rushed from nearby at an extremely fast speed and quickly appeared directly in front of the vehicle. This man was standing quietly with his back to the vehicle. What attracted people's attention was that on his right hand behind his back, he wore a jade ring on his thumb. He twisted his index finger and the jade ring rotated at a constant speed. It's 100 kilometers away from Jiang's home. This area is relatively depressed and quiet. Feng stopped. Observing the surroundings carefully, there was no suspicious person chasing him. Fortunately, the old master Zhang can attract hatred, otherwise he would definitely be caught by Lu Xianhua. Although the security bureau will not embarrass himself, once the soul master's identity is exposed, the people and forces he has offended in each incident will come to find him, which will be more troublesome. That was a respected soul master just now. Thinking of Lu Xianhua who took action, Feng could understand that there was a gap between him and himself, and he had to continue to get stronger. Feng took out the jade box and looked at the dry god-eating moss inside. After I get back, I will study how to cultivate it. Probably, he hasn't been recognized as his master yet, right? Chapter 91. Shen District. When Lu Xianhua arrived here with Zhang Shishang in custody, the scene he saw in front of him made his pupils shrink into needlepoints, and anger bloomed on his face. The convoy that was fine before he left was now a piece of scrap metal, as if it had suffered some violent bombardment. Police officer Wu Zong present either died directly in the vehicle or fell on the ground in a pool of blood. There were only a few scattered people nearby, all of whom were extremely frightened and ran away into the distance. As for Zhang Yin and other members of the Zhang family, none of them were seen. Zhang Yin. What a Zhang family! Do you think that as long as you can escape, everything will be fine? Humph! You can escape the first grade of junior high school, but you can't escape the 15th grade. Lu Xianhua was extremely angry. At the same time, he also blamed himself very much because his negligence led to the death of many colleagues. However, he did not expect that Zhang Yin would be so courageous that he would dare to be openly hostile to the Security Bureau before the matter became clear. Normally, even if you want to escape, you would not go on a killing spree, because doing so would be provoking the entire law enforcement agency. At this moment, a man with strong energy and blood flew rapidly from the sky. Qi and blood can actually leave the body and form an energy-like barrier, allowing them to fly in the air without borrowing anything. All the people who saw this man exclaimed repeatedly, "Emperor Wu! Only the strong martial emperor can release his energy and blood and fly in the sky." With overwhelming momentum, the man landed next to Lu Xianhua. He has short hair, each hair is like a steel needle, and his square face has a serious expression, not angry or intimidating. Duanzhu. The person coming is none other than the chief director of the Lingnan Provincial Bureau, Duan Yang. There was an emergency here, and someone had already reported it. The situation was so bad that Duan Yang came to check it out personally. "It's my fault, I shouldn't have left midway." Lu Xianhua blamed himself. Now is not the time to blame yourself, but to catch the murderer as soon as possible. Duan Yang has checked the nearby surveillance cameras, but without exception, they were all destroyed in advance. The next step is to look for witnesses and see if we can find any useful clues. Duanzhu, this is Zhang Shishang, the old head of the Zhang family. Lu Xianhua briefly explained the ins and outs of the matter. In the Zhang family's backyard, there is a coffin made of evergreen wood. For Zhang Shishang to lie in it, it can provide him with a certain amount of wood attribute energy. Those people who have disappeared recently are all people with wood physiques. I have reason to suspect that Zhang Shishang was originally a dying person because he used some kind of evil power to absorb the vitality of people with wood physiques, allowing him to survive until the end of his life. Now, hearing this, Duan Yang's eyes flashed coldly and he looked at Zhang Shishang. At this time, Zhang Shishang looked a little dazed, not as alert as he was in the Zhang family's backyard. It looks a bit like a demented old man. It wasn't that Lu Xianhua used any means against him. The real reason is that the evil skills he practiced have not yet been completely perfected. Most of the time, you need to sleep in a coffin and replenish the wood life essence in time. The big fight just now consumed a lot of energy, and now we are in this state. Take it back first, other side. To the north of the provincial capital, there is a relatively backward area. In one of the courtyards, Zhang Yin and others were inside, looking a little uneasy as they looked at the people in front of them. The man in front of me has a somewhat muscular build, and he often puts a smile on his face, looking harmless to humans and animals. But those who know him well will know that these are just appearances. He habitually turned the jade ring on his hand and looked at Zhang Yin with a smile. Don't have any illusions. I have received information that your old father has been captured by Lu Xianhua. It's only a matter of time before the rejuvenation technique is used later. You, the Zhang family, have only one way to go now, which is to serve the organization wholeheartedly. When he mentioned the word organization, his expression was rare and serious, showing a high level of respect. He was the person who appeared in front of the police car just now, and he was also the person who finally talked to Tang Kun when Tang Kun was rescued from the security station in Linhai City that day. The human blood pill incident is related to their so-called organization. Now that he can stand here properly, it means that after the Yanlong army intervened, he still couldn't do anything to them. 4 years ago, you took the initiative to find me and told me unconditionally about the rejuvenation technique. Did you know that there would be such a day? Your purpose was to make my Zhang family desperate and sacrifice my life for you. Zhang Yin, he gritted his teeth. He really had no other way to go, otherwise he wouldn't have escaped just now. Moreover, they went on a killing spree, with no way out. Hey! This situation will happen now. It's just that you were incompetent and let things get exposed. But you can't blame me at all. Besides, I didn't force you back then. It was entirely of your own free will. Otherwise, how could your old father survive until now? The wealthy man Lu Yi, his smile faded, his eyes turned cold, and he criticized mercilessly. Zhang Yin was silent, that was the fact. I can sacrifice my life for you, but I have one request, help me find that soul master. I want him to die a good death. Zhang Yin's tone was full of hatred. Okay, I'm also looking for the soul master. Judging from the existing information, it is very possible that the soul master was the soul master they were looking for in the human blood pill incident. If you keep going against them, do you really think they are easy to bully? One more thing. In the backyard of my Zhang family, there used to be a clump of god-eating moss seedlings that I hid in the rockery. Now, someone has probably taken them away. Zhang Yin intended to tell this information. In the past 20 years, he has not been able to find an effective plan to identify the master. Even if he has the god-eating moss now, the value to him is actually not too high, and there is a high probability that he will keep it forever. And now, since something has happened, let the news be announced. With the attractiveness of the god-eating moss, Lu Yi and the organization behind it will definitely put great effort into finding and snatching it. No matter who takes it, they will have to pay the price. Sure enough, when Lu Yi heard the news, his breath was choked. Seriously? Lu Yi stressed seriously. Absolutely true. Zhang Yin replied affirmatively. Okay. You actually have such good things in the Zhang family. With Lu Yi's knowledge, he naturally knew how precious the god-eating moss was. It is rated as the king of demonized plants. It has grown to the limit and can even be swallowed by the god of war. As long as you get it and cultivate it, you will be invincible in the world. No organization, no country, or even the whole world will be taken seriously. This kind of attraction is extremely huge for Lu Yi. He was originally extremely loyal to the organization, but now he became greedy and wanted to take the god-eating moss as his own. Chapter 92. Next, just listen to me and obey my instructions in everything. It will be your benefit. Also, information about the god-eating moss is not allowed to be spread any further. Lu Yi said coldly. Yes. Zhang Yin and others answered in unison. Lu Yi raised his head slightly, with greed in his deep eyes. He wanted to take the god-eating moss as his own, but before that, he needed someone to help him find it. Specifically, who took away the god-eating moss? The two most suspects are Lu Xianhua and the mysterious soul master. He had received information that when Lu Xianhua returned to the Zhang family's backyard, someone was already fighting. The arrival of Lu Xianhua made both sides of the battle want to retreat. One of them was Zhang Shishang, the head of the Zhang family, who was eventually captured. The second one was a soul master, whose whole body was covered with mulberry vines, and left from the backyard of the Zhang family. It's a pity that this information was only learned after the fact. Otherwise, he would have gone to intercept the Soul Master at that time. Just then. From a certain direction, there was a wave of energy, causing them to all turn their heads to look. Perhaps because of the long distance, when it reaches here, it is already extremely weak, but with their strength, they can still sense it. At the same time, Feng, who was near Longteng Academy, also felt this weak energy and looked at it with confusion. In the entire Lingnan province, and even in more distant places, anyone with stronger strength can sense this fluctuation. For a time, many forces or individuals were ready to take action. They don't know what happened specifically, but every abnormality is a change, maybe it's just chance. Treasure box clue: a red treasure box appears in the secret realm of water and fire that is being born. Please go and open it after 30 days. In front of Feng, a prompt suddenly popped up. It was a clue to the red treasure chest. The secret realm that is being born. Feng muttered. There is no prompt in the morning and no prompt in the evening. However, when there is energy fluctuation, the prompt pops up. It is almost certain that the energy fluctuation just now was caused by the space collapse and energy explosion when the secret passage was born. These existing secret realms were all created one after another. It is not surprising that new secret realms will be born at this moment. Secret realm of water and fire. Feng was curious as to what kind of secret realm this would be. Judging from the name, he also found it quite contradictory. The so-called water and fire are incompatible. What would happen if these two conflicting energies were put together? The new secret realm represents unknown opportunities, but also unknown dangers. But it certainly cannot be stopped. Many masters will venture there, and it will be extremely lively by then. It will take another month for the channel to be fully formed. There is a red treasure chest inside, and Feng will definitely go there when the time comes. Don't think about this for now. Feng arrived at Longteng Academy and walked in. Feng, it seems you haven't been in school for many days, right? Some classmates who recognized Feng said hello. Normally, few people would leave school every now and then like Feng. The key is that even when I was in school, I hardly attended lectures. But his strength is not bad, and teacher Su is very partial to him. This is the most irritating thing. Well, it's been a while. Feng nodded, said a few casual words, and then went to his residence. For Feng, it doesn't matter whether he goes to school or not. The biggest reason why I came to school in the first place was that there was a treasure chest that needed to be opened. After enrolling, I didn't drop out of school on purpose. Staying here now is just a place to stay, and it is also convenient to check information. Some relatively secret information cannot be found online, but it can be found in the school archives. At this time, several tutors were walking in a hurry towards the outside of the school, as if they were going to do something urgent. Among them was Su Chanyi, who happened to meet Feng who was coming back. Where are you fooling around again? Su Chanyi said with wide eyes. After I finished speaking, I realized that these words seemed inappropriate for a large audience. I coughed slightly and changed the subject. There were energy fluctuations in the distance just now. Did you feel it? Feng was about to answer, but was preempted by another instructor who was traveling with Su Chanyi. It's far away, and we can only feel weak energy fluctuations. How could he, a student, detect it? Yeah, don't delay, let's set off quickly and go over there to see what's going on. Another instructor agreed. Su Chan smiled dryly and thought to herself, if you two together, you might not be enough to beat Feng. Feng didn't argue pointlessly. He smiled lightly and said nothing. Several people left because they were sent out by the principal to investigate the situation. Not only them, other big and small forces, and even individual experts, if they notice any movement, they will send people over to check. When these people came back from the exploration, they discovered that the secret realm was being born. When the news spread, it was definitely big news. If it is really a secret realm, Feng's guess can be considered confirmed. Feng returned to the dormitory. Start researching God-eating moss immediately. God-eating moss is a very powerful demonizing plant. Once cultivated, it will be an extremely terrifying fighting force, which will be of great help to you. No matter what the cost, Feng will find a way to cultivate it. Hope it goes well. Feng was not too confident. Find Mu Bufen's research diary and start reading. I hadn't gotten the God-eating moss yet, and I thought it was far away, so I just took a cursory look at the introduction. Now, I can finally study the plans mentioned in it carefully. Diary content. At first, I thought that just like ordinary demonized plants, I only need to use my own blood and let it absorb it, and then I can successfully recognize the owner. After I did this, I found that blood is just nourishment for it. I used my heart essence and blood again to absorb it. This time it had some effect and established a preliminary bond. However, as time went by, the bond became weaker and weaker until it completely disappeared and became ownerless again. Do we need to continue to feed the heart essence and blood? No. I think it is impossible. Every drop of heart essence and blood is extremely precious. If you do this, you will die soon. The following content is about experiments and failures again and again. In the last experiment, I tried to add the blood essence and blood of the king beast that had killed the activity, and the plant essence of the king level demonized plant. After combining it, I didn't expect the effect to be improved a lot. I think I have found a way. To identify the master, you still need to use the heart essence and blood, but you also need supplementary materials, animal essence and blood and plant essence. The levels of the two should be Emperor level. Chapter 93. After reading the content, Feng fell into deep thought. It turns out that if you want to recognize your master, you need not only the essence and blood of your heart, but also supplementary materials. The essence and blood of the imperial beast, as well as the plant essence of the imperial demonized plant. 2 excipients, equivalent to nutritional supplements. As expected of god-eating moss, the process of identifying the master alone is so demanding. Whether it is a strange beast or a demonized plant, it is an extremely powerful existence if it reaches the emperor level or above. Just think of the martial emperors among humans. Which one is not a big shot? In this huge Lingnan province, someone can walk sideways. It was precisely because of this condition that Mu Bufan was unable to let god-eating moss recognize him as his master. Of course, there are other reasons for this. At the beginning, they didn't know about this plan. After they found out, the Zhang family happened to find trouble and took away the god-eating moss. Otherwise, as long as Mu Bufan is given some time, he can think of ways to make money, and then use money to buy what he needs. Yes, as long as you have money, you can buy the essence and blood of the emperor beast and the essence of the emperor's grass and trees, but you need certain channels, and the price is also shockingly expensive. Mu Bufan mentioned in his diary that the price of these 2 items is about 25 billion. Although that was the price 20 years ago, it should not be much different now. With the concept of price, Feng also has a goal to save money. So far, I have only saved a total of more than 300 million yuan, and 25 billion. Feng instantly felt like his head was heavy, and the money on hand was not even enough for a fraction. Saving slowly? That will take years and months of the monkey. When you become stronger, can you hunt and get it yourself? This is a way, but it also requires waiting. Originally, he could not be in a hurry, but the main reason is that recognizing the god-eating moss as its master is only the first step, and it will take a lot of time to cultivate its growth in the follow-up. Back and forth, I don't know how long it will take until I have the strength to help me fight. Just then, a phone call came through. There is a note name on it, Black Gloves. Feng remembered that he had gone to the secret realm of the treasure mine and plundered the Zhang family's mineral veins. Half of the minerals were left for the stone beasts to absorb, and the other half were sold to Black Gloves. Their Black Gloves specialize in this kind of business and come to collect illegal goods door to door. There was a sudden call, and Feng vaguely guessed the purpose of the call. Feng connected, and a rough voice came from the other side. This voice is very recognizable, and you can tell it is the same order taker from last time. Hey, there is a lot of restlessness in the treasure mine secret realm these days. Do you know this? He said with a tentative tone. How do you say that? Feng raised his eyebrows, non-committal. All the mineral veins there have been looted. No matter which family's property it belongs to, even if it's a big family. It can be said that nothing has been harvested this time, which has aroused public outrage. When the order taker said this, his tone was a bit gloating. In his view, those big family forces that were able to occupy those mineral veins only used force to plunder them. Now that he was being punished, he didn't feel anything pitiable. Anyway, in this world, the only thing that matters is fists. If you don't believe it, hit him back. Hearing this, Feng had an idea. In the dark, there is a fetter, which is connected to the secret realm of the treasure mine. The last time I went there, I subdued a stone ape king beast and commanded them to plunder the Zhang family's mineral veins. Could these things now be done by these guys? According to the current intelligence, it is said that a kind of stone beast inside did it, but based on the intelligence of those stone beasts, it seems unlikely, right? I was originally doubting whether it was you who did it. After all, you dared to offend the Zhang family. But looking at your reaction now, it doesn't seem like it's you. The order taker called this time just to inquire about the situation. If it was Ye Feng who did it, so many minerals must be sold through channels, and they would just eat this batch of goods. When I have goods that need to be shipped, I will naturally come to you. Ye Feng said. Then ended the call with him. The secret realm of the treasure mine. Ye Feng muttered softly and looked in the direction of the secret realm of the treasure mine. In the treasure mine secret realm, there are 10 days each month when the passage is open. Counting the days, now is the time to open the channel, but tomorrow is already the last day. These days, Ye Feng has been busy with the Zhang family's affairs, and has not even taken a good rest, so he is not in a hurry to set off. Anyway, there is still time, so we will set off tomorrow and go to the secret realm of the treasure mine to see the situation. If it was really the stone monkeys and the others who did it, then the entire batch of minerals would be worth a lot if sold, and they might have the money to buy what they need. Time passed and it was the next day in a blink of an eye. Early in the morning, Ye Feng got up, packed up his travel equipment, left the school, and headed towards the secret realm of the treasure mine. Halfway through, a prompt suddenly popped up. Treasure box clue: in the secret realm of the treasure mine, a red treasure box appears. Please go and open it. Ye Feng was stunned for a moment, then joy appeared on his face. It's a new treasure chest clue, and it's also red. This time it was quite unexpected. I was planning to go to the treasure mine secret realm, but unexpectedly a red treasure box came to me. The location was also in the treasure mine secret realm. I'll stop by later. Anyway, it was just a way to make Ye Feng feel like he had picked up a treasure box for nothing. After leaving the provincial capital and arriving in the wild, Ye Feng soared his speed to the limit, and his body turned into a stream of light and quickly disappeared into the distance. With Ye Feng's current speed, it didn't take long to arrive near the secret realm of the treasure mine, much faster than last time. After arriving nearby, gradually reduce the speed. So many people. And these people are pretty strong. Ye Feng restrained his breath and watched from a distance. The last time I came here, I saw a lot of people, but the people I saw at that time were not very strong. They were only at the level of military generals, and more of them were just at the level of martial arts masters. But today, there are many people present including Wu Zong. They didn't seem to be in a hurry to enter the secret realm, and were only stationed nearby. They were divided into different forces, and then formed an alliance, keeping an eye on all the changes in the secret passage. At this time, the secret channel energy surged, and a group of people was teleported out of it. Which force are you from? The people stationed outside asked. What kind of power we have has none of your business. The bearded man at the head of the team also had a bad temper and his tone was particularly harsh. However, swish, swish, swish. The surrounding garrison forces all looked at it with evil eyes. Their energy and blood were surging, and they had no intention of hiding it, and they had a tendency to surround them. What's going on? The bearded man and others were almost scared to the point of peeing. Chapter 94. We belong to the Tianhai Chamber of Commerce. There are our mineral veins in the secret realm, but the minerals that have been accumulated for a long time were looted, so the superiors sent us here to investigate. Everyone, harmony brings wealth. If you have anything to say, please talk to me. The bearded man was instantly frightened and said with a smile. Actually, we are all like this too. Our mines have been looted, and now we have joined forces to block the passage. With so many minerals, the enemy must not have transported them out yet. Let's see if we can defend them. Since you are also victims, then join us, said the garrison. This is what they can think of for the time being. All the victimized forces were united. The greater the number of people, the greater the strength. Some people guarded the entrance, and some entered the secret realm to investigate. Ye Feng watched from a distance for a while. I found that no matter whether I was going in or coming out, I would be stopped by them and interrogated. There were so many Wu Zongjing present, no one dared to resist. Idle forces or individuals can only be investigated honestly. After it is found that there is no problem, they will not be embarrassed. Those who are also victims will choose to join, making the alliance team stronger and stronger. Just when Ye Feng was preparing to take action. Ye Feng looked in a certain direction. Over there, a group of people came slowly, their auras well controlled. Ye Feng had a vague feeling that they should be very strong. The team was small, with 5 people in total. The leader was a man. He looked young, probably about 30 years old. He was wearing a golden armor and looked very noble. The remaining 4 people accompanying him didn't look easy either. When I came to the south this time, I didn't expect to make such a discovery. Are you sure that the energy of the earth element there has become abnormal? The young man in golden armor turned his head slightly and looked at the man on the right. Back to young master, this is absolutely true. I originally went in to see if there were any rare minerals in the south. I couldn't find any minerals that I was satisfied with, but I made this discovery and informed you immediately. The horse-faced man accompanying him replied respectfully. If it's what I think. The man in golden armor did not continue. He remembered a rumor that the powerful man who stood on top of the world and was known as the god of fire had obtained the origin of a ball of fire when the elements of a certain fire-type secret realm were in turmoil. He didn't know whether the rumors were true or not, but he wanted to believe it was true. If this earth-type secret realm also has abnormal elements and becomes turbulent, is there any chance that he can also obtain the origin of earth? It just so happens that he is now an earth physique person. During the conversation, they approached the secret passage. The personnel stationed at the passage stepped forward. Excuse me. They can also see that this team is not simple. But I had the responsibility, so I had to bite the bullet and step forward to ask. His tone is much gentler, not as tough as when he treats others. But the young man in golden armor didn't give him any face, and glanced over with a cold look. Everyone present felt as if someone had pinched their necks, and they were immediately speechless. When they calmed down, they saw that the men in golden armor were nowhere to be seen, and they had already entered the secret realm. Wu Zun. It was absolutely unmistakable. The auras that came over those people just now were definitely those of martial lord. However, every strong martial artist has a great reputation and is extremely well known. With their knowledge, it is impossible for them to fail to recognize them. But why, it all looks so strange. Especially the young man in golden armor who is leading the team, he looks to be about 30 years old, right? 30-year-old martial master realm. Looking at the entire Lingnan province, there seems to be no such evil figure. Who are they? Just when they were thinking wildly, they didn't notice at all that there was energy fluctuation in the channel above again, which was the energy manifestation of someone being transported in. I used shadow trace to condense my aura and hide my figure. As soon as I approached the secret passage, I was immediately sensed and teleported in. Ye Feng, who had entered the secret realm of the treasure mine, murmured softly. After entering the secret realm, you are in the same space as the Stone Ape King Beast, and you can clearly sense that the location of the Stone Ape King Beast should be inside the Stone Beast Mountain. The location that happened to be randomly teleported was not far from Stone Beast Mountain. Ye Feng set off to go and disappeared from the spot. Not long after, he appeared in front of Stone Beast Mountain. Rumble. As soon as Ye Fengfu arrived, there was a rumble in the Stone Beast Mountain, as if thousands of troops and horses were approaching. Apparently Ye Feng entered the secret realm, and the Stone Ape King Beast also sensed it, and led many Stone Ape Beasts out to greet him. Soon, the figures of many stone beasts appeared in Ye Feng's sight. Why are there other types of stone beasts? Ye Feng was confused. When I left last time, there were only stone ape beasts in this Stone Beast Mountain. It is impossible for other forms of stone beasts to be integrated into them. But now, among the group of stone beasts, there are actually other varieties of stone beasts, with different shapes, big and small. When his eyes fixed on the Stone Ape King Beast, Ye Feng was slightly startled again. You've grown so fast. Have you become a lord? Before, it was just a king beast, but now it has become a lord, which is equivalent to the human martial arts realm. The territory of a lord among beasts is basically not too small. Within his territory, beasts that are weaker than him must obey the lord's orders. It may be for this reason that other types of stone beasts also have to obey the command of the Stone Ape Lord, so they appear here now. Click, click, click. The Stone Ape leader closed his mouth, and as the master, Ye Feng could hear what it wanted to express. They were probably expressing their excitement and reporting on some of their recent achievements. Although it looks dull, in fact, it is getting smarter and smarter. When it was the King Beast last time, Ye Feng had a vague feeling that this stone beast was different from other stone beasts, that is, it was smarter. Ye Feng subdued the stone ape king beast at that time, and originally thought about looking for other groups of stone beasts and subduing their leaders. Later, I actually took the time to give it a try, but those leaders, in addition to being relatively strong in combat effectiveness, were still clumsy and couldn't be conquered at all. Ye Feng had no choice but to give up. Now that it has become a lord, its seemingly dull eyes are actually sparkling, and you can tell that it is smarter than when it was the king beast before. It is almost certain that it is a special individual and unique. After listening to Lord Stone Ape's report, Ye Feng finally knew that the mineral veins everywhere had been looted in recent times, and it was all their fault. Being eaten by them increased the overall strength. The remaining ones were piled up in many secret places, and stone beasts were sent to guard them. Where are they stored? Take me there and have a look. Ye Feng said. Chapter 95. Under the leadership of Stone Monkey Beast, Ye Feng went to several places, and the location of each place was extremely secretive. It can be seen from this that the current IQ of the Stone Ape leader is not inferior to that of humans at all, and they all know to choose a place with good privacy as a storage point for minerals. A random storage point, at a glance, is filled with all kinds of ores, some of which are very valuable and can be sold at high prices. Which mineral you eat can increase your strength as quickly as possible. Just keep some for storage. I will sell the rest. Ye Feng said to the leader of the stone ape. Click, click, click. The leader of the stone apes opened and closed his mouth, indicating that they had reserved all the minerals they needed, which was enough for them to eat for a long time. In this case, there is no need to keep these, just sell them for money. Ye Feng immediately contacted Black Gloves. I have a batch of goods that I want to sell to you. Ye Feng said straight to the point. Oh? What kind of goods and how many are there? The order taker asked. I just took the initiative to contact you yesterday, but Ye Feng had no intention of shipping. How come it was immediately available just one day later? He felt that it shouldn't be a big deal. It's minerals. The order is worth tens of billions. I'm afraid you won't be able to eat it. Ye Feng said. What? Tens of billions. The order taker was shocked, and his originally lazy voice became serious. Is it the treasure mine secret realm? Then you yesterday. He wanted to say, didn't he say yesterday that it wasn't you? But then I thought about it, and it seemed that the other party didn't make it clear yesterday that he was not responsible for the incident. Ye Feng sent him a few photos. The mountains of minerals were so endless that he almost jumped out of his seat in shock. It really is. This was the first time he had seen so many minerals. If this order is completed, he will get a lot of commission. When will the transaction take place? The order taker's tone became respectful. As soon as possible, it is best to complete the transaction today. Ye Feng paused and continued, the things are in the secret realm of the treasure mine, and there are many forces jointly stationed at the passage of the secret realm outside to check people coming in and out. Can you solve this problem? We know this, it's okay, we have other identities we can use, such as members of a certain chamber of commerce. Moreover, our people are stationed in the secret realm of the treasure mine all year round. It is more convenient when transactions are needed. Give me an address and we will send someone there now. Once the goods are verified, the transaction can be carried out. What to do with those minerals later is our business. The man who took the order said that he was skilled in this area and knew what to say. Okay. Let's use this location. Ye Feng sent him the address. What follows is waiting. Ye Feng asked the stone beasts to go back. Ye Feng himself also hid in a secret place near the location, and also used shadow trace. In less than half an hour, the Black Glove team arrived at the place. The process is similar to the last time. These people are here to inspect the minerals and then give pricing. But this time there were too many, and the inspection process alone took a lot of time. After the acceptance here was completed, Ye Feng sent them the next address. They headed there, and Ye Feng followed. When the goods were inspected everywhere, Black Gloves gave the price, a total of 19.6 billion. After bargaining, in the end we only managed to get an integer of 20 billion. There is still a shortfall of several billion from the amount Ye Feng needs. Let's get these billions from other places later. It's a pleasure to cooperate. If there are any goods in the future, I hope we can continue to cooperate. Our Black Glove organization does business all over the country. Our headquarters is located in the central part of the country. We are strong and can eat any goods. The person talking to Ye Feng at this time was no longer the order taker, but the top person in charge of the branch in Lingnan province. A big customer like Ye Feng definitely needs him to come forward to talk. Yes, there is a chance to cooperate. Speaking of this, Ye Feng suddenly laughed softly. You don't have to worry, since I have sold this batch of goods to you, I will not touch it again. Haha. The other person smiled awkwardly. What he just said seemed to be introducing the organization and attracting business, but the actual purpose was to prevent Ye Feng from thinking about goods again after the transaction. The original intention was to let Ye Feng realize it, but he didn't expect that Ye Feng would actually say it clearly. The two ended the call. Ye Feng glanced at the red arrow on the ground. It's time to find the treasure chest. Due to the mineral trading, a lot of time was delayed. It was already late, and there were only a few hours left before the secret passage was closed. A few hours should be enough to open this treasure chest. Ye Feng's figure flashed and disappeared. Halfway through the journey, Ye Feng slowed down and his expression became confused. Why do you feel that the earth element here seems a little abnormal? There are various elements in the world, the most common ones are metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, etc. It's not that you need to have certain attribute talents to detect the existence of these elements, but as long as you have a certain level of cultivation, you can sense them. The difference is that those with corresponding talent and physique will have stronger perception of the elements of this attribute. Ye Feng does not have the innate physique of the earth element, and his perception of the earth element is indeed not as good as those who have the earth element. But now his cultivation level is not bad, just his perception is still okay. Especially the treasure mine secret realm is an earth secret realm, not one of those balanced types. The earth element here is extremely strong, making it easier for people to perceive. I was busy making transactions just now, maybe I was negligent, but now if I sense it carefully, I will find that the surrounding earth element energy seems more restless and not as stable and calm as before. Especially as you get closer to the direction of the red treasure chest, this feeling becomes more obvious. I want to see what I find in the end. Ye Feng became interested, speeded up again, and rushed towards the treasure chest. When arriving at the destination, there is a continuous stone forest here with clusters of strange rocks, which is very consistent with the characteristics of a secret treasure mine. There are already many people in this area. They all discovered that the earth element was abnormal, so they began to deliberately search for the source, and finally came here, the most abnormal place in the earth element. They walked aimlessly, observing their surroundings. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. I want to see what is different here. Unfortunately, after checking, nothing was found. Ye Feng did not move around, but looked at the ground under his feet. The red arrow extends here and disappears. But there was no treasure chest on the ground. The treasure chest is underground. Chapter 96. The arrow was obviously broken, as if it had reached the end, but there was no treasure box. There can only be one explanation, the treasure chest exists underground. The arrow did not reach the end, but extended toward the ground. Ye Feng looked around. There was no one else at close range. People further away paid more attention to the surrounding environment, and no one paid attention to Ye Feng. Ye Feng rubbed his feet on the ground, and a pit soon appeared. Sure enough. Looking from the pit, the arrow is going downwards. What should I do? Keep digging. Although the ground is hard, with Ye Feng's strength, he can dig it down. But, how deep do you need to dig to find the treasure chest? This cannot be determined. Just when Ye Feng was planning his next move. I was shocked to find that the direction pointed by the red arrow had actually shifted. What does it mean? It means that the red treasure box below has moved. If it is on the ground, it can also be said that it may be because of which stone beast the treasure chest is located in. Now the treasure chest is obviously underground, why can it move? Is it possible that there is a kind of stone beast that lives underground? Ye Feng was startled and made a bold guess. It seems that this is the only possibility that will lead to the current situation. Ye Feng looked at the crowd around him. When the treasure box was moved just now, there was a commotion in the crowd. The reason is also simple. As the treasure box moves, the surrounding earth element energy also fluctuates significantly. Coincide. This possibility cannot be ruled out. But Ye Feng is more willing to believe that it is not a coincidence, but related. Ye Feng continued to observe. In just a few minutes, the treasure chest moved again, even more than before. The surrounding earth element energy began to vibrate significantly again, and the intensity was even stronger. One time can be said to be a coincidence, but if it happens twice, it is basically certain that there is a connection. Although Ye Feng doesn't know yet what kind of connection there is. I thought it only existed underground, and as long as I put some effort into digging, I would eventually find the treasure chest. But now, Ye Feng was a little confused. If the treasure chest is not in a static state, then there is no way to dig it. The speed of digging by yourself will never be able to keep up with the speed of its changing position. Time passes. Ye Feng did not take any action for the time being, but quietly observed the movements of the red treasure box. It is found that the frequency of its movement is becoming more and more frequent, and the amplitude of its movement is also getting larger and larger. The more this happened, the more Ye Feng had no choice but to watch. The degree of vibration of the surrounding earth elements is getting stronger and stronger, and the scope is getting wider and wider. As a result, more and more people discovered the abnormality here, and more people gathered here in Stone Forest. This side, this is the Stone Forest. It's true. It's strange. What is the cause? I don't know. Everyone is looking for the reason, but there is no harvest yet. With the sound of conversation, the large group of people approached. Similar situations continue to happen. Whenever I get the news, I will rush over to find out. Even before coming here, I already knew that no one could find anything yet. But everyone has this mentality, maybe they are the lucky one who discovered the secret here? Ye Feng even saw some familiar faces that he saw when he came in just now. Originally, he was standing guard in the outer passage, waiting for the enemy to plunder the mineral veins to appear. But now, those forces learned the news here and were short of manpower, so they mobilized the people over there. Otherwise, if there is any chance, there will be too few people coming, and there will be no benefits. The mineral vein thing can be investigated another day, but if you miss the opportunity, you will miss it forever. In an inconspicuous corner of the stone forest, the 5 martial lords restrained their auras, lowered their sense of presence, and observed the surrounding movements with burning eyes. The place where the origin of Earth is most likely to appear should be here. The young man in golden armor whispered. What the young master said is absolutely true, we can just stay here and guard it. If there really is an origin of Earth, it is bound to be obtained. That's natural. Even if there are competitors, at most they are just like us, in the martial master realm. That's right, at the same level, we haven't been afraid of anyone yet. The people accompanying him seemed extremely confident in what they said. The reason why they are so sure that others are at the highest level of martial master realm is because the secret realm passages have different degrees of stability. The more stable the channel is, the stronger the powerful person can be sent in, and vice versa, the weaker it will be. Based on the stability of the treasure mine secret realm passage, it can only withstand the martial master realm at best. Therefore, the martial emperor and the powerful ones above cannot come in, and it is impossible to appear in this secret realm. Time passed by minute. Even though it's still bright inside, in the main world outside, it's actually already dark. If the time reaches 0 o'clock, the secret passage will be closed, and if you want to go out again, you will have to wait a month. What is before everyone is this situation. Either leave the secret realm quickly before the passage is closed, or continue to defend it. If you fail to leave in time, you can only stay in the secret realm for a month, waiting for the next time the passage opens again. Seeing that the distance to 0 is getting closer and closer. Some people have given up and gritted their teeth and left, feeling that waiting is not an option. Who knows if there is a real chance? Even if there is, it may not be theirs. Some people have decided to wait. Most of them are powerful people. The rations for the next month will be considered carefully. If there is enough food in the mines under the banner, there is no need to panic. Otherwise, you need to contact someone and send a batch of supplies in before the passage is closed. Ye Feng was also thinking about this issue. There is no need to worry about 1 month's rations. During this period of time, the stone beasts have looted the mines and also looted a lot of people's food. The stone beast tried to eat it, but found it extremely unpalatable and nutritious, so he piled the food there to eat ashes. With so much food reserves, we can survive for a year, let alone a month. What Ye Feng is thinking about is that there is also a red treasure box in the secret realm of water and fire that is being generated, and he will go there when the time comes. Yesterday, when the treasure chest clue was given, it was said that 30 days would pass. If this is the time when the secret realm is generated, then there are still 29 days left. If you stay here for a month, you will be slightly delayed. Just wait. Ye Feng made a decision. There may not be a chance in the secret realm of water and fire, so it's okay to delay for a day or two. On the contrary, here in the treasure mine secret realm, there are anomalies everywhere, and the probability of opportunities is higher. When the time comes to 0. The red arrow suddenly changed significantly. The earth element trembled like waves, and the earth shook. It's coming out. Chapter 97. Rumble. The surrounding earth element energy surged like a stormy sea. The entire ground was shaking, the stone forest was shaking, and all kinds of gravel and dust were rustling. When the shaking was really severe, even stone pillars collapsed and hit the hard ground, stirring up smoke and dust all over the sky. What a big noise! What exactly happens next? Everyone present held their breath, their bodies tensed, and they were ready to go. While paying attention to your surroundings, you are also alert to the people around you. Don't look at it just now. Everyone has tacitly agreed not to interfere with each other. That's because there is nothing to tit for tat. And as long as any opportunity arises, it will inevitably trigger a riot, fight to the death, and fight to the death. Even if two people were chatting and laughing one moment, they might get into a fight the next moment. Cheer up! The young man in golden armor shouted. Yes. Young master. The 4 people around him responded in unison. When everyone around him was on alert, Ye Feng focused his attention on the ground. Wherever the arrow points, Ye Feng pays attention to that direction. In a short period of time, it has changed rapidly. Light. Red light. A faint red light can already be seen on the ground. Only when the treasure chest is in the shallow underground and is close to the ground can the light shine through. Now. Rumble. Following a violent earthquake, there was an upheaval, and the ground rose rapidly, like a mountain rising from the flat ground. The people on the raised position were all thrown off their feet by this sudden change. Some people staggered, lost their footing, and fell directly from high places along with the falling stones. Some barely stood firm, but as the mountains rose, they stood higher and higher. They were not sure what was going on, and they were extremely worried. This is a stone beast? A huge stone beast. It seems not quite right. Everyone looked in shock and saw that over there, the mountain-like raised ground formed a huge humanoid monster. Its entire body, at least several hundred meters high, was made of sand and stone. It's like taking out such a large group of materials from the ground and assembling its body, so you can see that there are standing stone pillars on its head, shoulders, etc., which were originally located on the ground. The bump is brought to the top. Boom! It suddenly raised its foot and stepped down. Run! The crowd on the ground fled in panic. The huge stone-shaped monster is extremely heavy. If it is stepped on casually, it will definitely turn into a pulp. In the panic, no one noticed that the mulberry vines on Ye Feng's body, which was located near the stone pillar on the ground, quickly extended and covered his entire body. The treasure chest is on the chest. Ye Feng looked and saw that there was a faint light emitting from the chest of the stone man, and a red arrow was also pointing to that position. Just as Ye Feng was about to take action, his eyes narrowed. Suffer death! There was a loud shout in the distance. Several martial master realm auras exploded over there. 5 figures suddenly jumped upwards, hundreds of meters high. It's the men in golden armor's team. The 5 of them took action at the same time, slashing away with their sharp edges, carrying the artistic conception, and accurately hit the stone man's head. Bang! The head, which was like a small hill, shattered under their blows, with rubble flying. So strong. The rest of the people on the ground looked at the scene above in shock. However, the stone man whose head exploded seemed to have no effect. The huge sky-lifting arm suddenly struck the 5 people. The 5 people who were still in the air had nowhere to draw on, so they had no choice but to attack. Boom! The stone arm was also chopped into pieces. Only then did the 5 of them land. At the same time, the stone man was sinking rapidly. The ground at this time was like water, and it sank to the bottom and quickly disappeared. Ye Feng just watched and did not rush to take action. He let others fight first and figured out the situation first. Run away! Everyone was confused. Ye Feng stared at the ground, knowing that it had not run away, and was still in the shallow layer, ready to go and reappear at any time. Rumble. Sure enough, the ground roiled again and it reappeared. However, it is different from before. At this time, it is not in a humanoid state, but like a crab, with multiple legs, standing evenly, like giant pillars supporting the sky. There is also a pair of huge pliers, which look quite offensive. The entire figure is also extremely huge. Go! Kill it! The young men in golden armor took action again. Come up! Let's go up too! There are other martial masters nearby, from several factions, and there are exactly 5 people in total. They were originally in a competitive relationship, but now they have come together in a tacit understanding and are ready to join forces. The reason is very simple. On the side of the golden armored man are 5 martial masters, who are accomplices at first glance. If he doesn't join forces now, no matter what benefits he can get in the future, it will have nothing to do with them and will definitely be snatched away by the team of men in golden armor. They are now temporarily joining forces to compete with the men's team in golden armor, so that they can have a chance to grab the benefits. As for how to share the benefits equally, that will be considered later. For a moment, there was a flash of swords and shadows. The 2 teams, with a total of 10 people, both at the martial master level, were vaguely wary of each other while dealing with the giant stone beast. They had a purpose in dealing with the giant stone beast. This huge stone beast is very special. It can combine forms at will, and it also has strong earth element fluctuations on its body. Maybe it will be beneficial to kill it. A battle went on. Feng, who was observing secretly, finally discovered the pattern. This huge stone beast will protect the location of the treasure chest every time. The location is not fixed. Sometimes it is located on the chest, sometimes on the head, or other places. As long as the location of the treasure chest is not attacked, it doesn't matter to it. Even if you are beaten to pieces, as long as you sink into the ground and come out again, you will be full of health again, and you can also change your body shape. This thing can't be killed. This gave everyone the illusion of being invincible. After all, whether it was the head, chest, or other positions, I tried them all. Useless, completely useless. This guy seems to have no vital parts. They did not give up so easily, and a new round of battle began. Feng is looking for an opportunity and may take action at any time. To kill in one hit, you have to attack the location of the treasure chest. But the location of the treasure chest can be moved at any time, so it requires surprise. At some point, the opportunity finally arrived. Perhaps it was a coincidence that 10 people took action at the same time, and each of them attacked in a different position. There was only one place that was not attacked. That's where the belly is. A faint red light emanated from it. Chapter 98. Feng mobilized his soul power. Condensation. The bailing flying shuttle was released, and under the coercion of the soul power, it quickly attacked the huge stone beast. Although the speed was already very fast, there was not much time for the stone beast to react. But to be cautious, Feng did not hit the stone beast's abdomen directly with his attack, but the chest above it. Soul Master. The 10 martial masters who were fighting noticed Feng's attack and did not stop attacking. They continued to attack the stone beast. They suddenly saw that when the bailing shuttle was about to hit the stone beast's chest, it suddenly turned around and its attack deflected downwards. Flowing tapestry. The flying shuttle turned into 100 shuttle knives, intertwined and entangled with each other. The shuttle knives were connected by soul power threads, weaving a huge silk net that instantly enveloped the stone beast's abdomen. The change happened so suddenly that the stone beast couldn't react at all. It was already too late to move the contents of the belly. Laugh. The wire mesh cuts through it, and the stone body is as fragile as tofu. Cutting in from the front and out from the back, the abdomen was cut into countless pieces. Only one thing was caught by the silk screen. It was a ball of earth yellow energy, extremely pure and condensed, exuding an extremely rich earth aura. It seems to be alive, agile, jumping, and at the same time very panicked. It wants to escape, but cannot escape the envelope of the flowing tapestry. The origin of Earth. It is the origin of Earth. The moment he saw the energy group, the golden-armored young man's breathing became rapid. He guessed right, the origin of Earth was really born. The huge stone beast just now was indeed not a stone beast in the conventional sense, but a form condensed from the origin of Earth, controlled by the surrounding sand and stones. No wonder it can transform into various forms, and no wonder it seems invincible. At this time, the origin of the earth was separated, and the sand and stones seemed to have lost their lives, rumbling and falling down. It turns out it has the origin of earth. When the others saw this, their eyes were red. In particular, some people have earth-type physiques and have greedy eyes. They failed to guess in advance that there would be the origin of earth like the young man in golden armor did. But with their knowledge, they can recognize the origin of earth when they see it. The same is true for Feng. Originally, I was just staring at the red treasure box. I felt that there must be something fishy about the treasure box moving around, so I used the shuttle tapestry to attack. But he didn't expect that the origin of earth existing in his body would be caught out, which was really an unexpected gain. Under the net of flowing brocade, the origin of earth was quickly collected, and the red treasure box inside the origin of earth was also caught in the net. In the end, both fell into Feng's hands. It's a long story, but the whole process is actually very fast. The main focus is on surprise, and the Soul Master's attacks are also extremely fast. From Feng taking action, to the appearance of the origin of earth, and finally falling into his hands, it was completed in just one breath. Other people's thoughts also flashed quickly in their minds. When he reacted, the origin of earth was already in Feng's hands. "Boy! Bring me the source of earth!" The young man in golden armor said sharply, his tone full of doubt. The origin of earth is too important and attractive to him. He wants to get it, he has to get it. "Did you hear that? My young master asked you to bring the source of earth. If you don't send it over, don't blame us for being rude." The followers around him spoke out one after another, their tone full of threats. As for other forces, they are all watching with eager eyes and have great momentum to surround them. "What if I say no?" Feng's voice was cold. "Then you won't be able to leave here alive today," the young man in golden armor said with murderous intent. He said this but didn't make any obvious moves. It's not that he wants to talk nonsense, but he doesn't dare to rush for it, fearing that Feng will suddenly swallow the origin of earth. Even if it takes time to absorb, he is not sure whether he can still extract the origin of earth after killing Feng after being swallowed. There are no relevant records for this kind of thing, and no one has ever experimented like this. The best way is to first let the other party understand the situation and know that if they want to survive, they can only honestly hand over the origin of earth. "Hurry up and hand over the origin of earth to me, and I will ensure that you can leave here, otherwise don't blame us for being rude." The martial master realm from the other team was not to be outdone and spoke out. "Hee hee." Feng smiled softly and looked around at everyone. He scanned the faces one by one, as if to write down their looks. He suddenly jumped up, stepped on the bailing shuttle, quickly took off, and flew towards the distance. "Boy! Where to escape?" The young man in golden armor was the first to react. He suddenly jumped hundreds of meters and used his sword to kill Feng, who was walking away. The rest of the people followed closely behind, with ferocious expressions on their faces, and they all launched attacks one after another. Feng's figure was extremely flexible, and he dodged their attacks with a few random swings in the air. Then they rose higher and higher, exceeding the height of their jump, and flew away. Wuzun? Unable to fly, they could only stare. As for chasing on the ground, they also tried it and found that Feng was very fast and deliberately went into complex terrain. In the air, they can travel along the branch line without any obstruction. On the ground, they cannot do the same when facing complex terrain. Soon, they were pushed further and further away. "Humph! You all just wait for me. 1 month, let's take our time and play." Feng, who was high in the sky, looked back and said with a cold voice. Feng was not afraid of facing one martial master realm alone, but facing 10 of them at the same time, Feng had no choice but to run away. He looked at the origin of earth in his hand again. In its true form, it had no attack power, so he could only let himself catch it. It will take some time to absorb it, then find a quiet place to absorb it. Even if I don't have an earth attribute physique, I can still absorb it, but the effect may be less. By the way, there is also a red treasure chest, open it and see what's inside. Feng stretched out his hand, pierced the body of the origin of the earth, and touched the red treasure box inside. Snap! You opened a red treasure box, congratulations on getting, Levane Rock Mass SSS, 6/10. You can really come up with whatever you want. The Leyline Rock Mass is a top-level Earth attribute physique, but because it was obtained from a red treasure chest, it is only a 60% incomplete version. Below are the mountains, Ye Feng landed, found a cave, and entered it. First, fuse the DE rock bodies to obtain this physique. He began to absorb the origin of Earth again. With the absorption, the perception of Earth's attributes becomes more and more intimate. Hey! The leyline rock mass is actually being upgraded, from an incomplete version to a perfect one. And the benefits don't stop there. Chapter 99. Earthy yellow energy wrapped around Ye Feng's body surface. As he breathed, it rose and fell. Ye Feng is absorbing the origin of Earth, and the energy is very pure. With the absorption, I discovered to my surprise that the leyline rock mass was being upgraded, gradually becoming complete from the original incomplete version. People with this physique are very friendly to the Earth element and can even feel every beat of the Earth's veins. And under the influence of the origin of Earth, this force of affinity becomes stronger and stronger. Ye Feng absorbed and digested the origin of Earth, and time passed little by little. Fast forward 5 days. At this time, Ye Feng was sitting there cross-legged, motionless, with the same posture as 5 days ago. The body is covered with a thick layer of dust, making it look like a clay figure. Only Ye Feng knew that at this time, the power of qi and blood in his body contained bits and pieces of earthy color, flowing throughout the body as the qi and blood circulated. The perception and use of the earth element are also incredibly powerful. Stare! Ye Feng's eyes suddenly opened, and 2 yellow rays of light burst out. Rumble! The surrounding sand and stones began to tremble violently and suddenly flew towards Ye Feng. Ye Feng's body was like a powerful magnet, attracting the surrounding sand and stones, gathering them on his body surface, and turning them into a thick layer of rock armor. Punch out! The stone wall in front suddenly collapsed and rocks fell, but Ye Feng was not hurt at all. Because when those stones touched Ye Feng's body, they became as soft as cotton. It's not that the stone is special, but that Ye Feng mobilizes the earthy yellow light spots in his body, which is the energy formed by absorbing the origin of Earth. When you encounter things with Earth attributes, you can control them at will. For example, Ye Feng thought, and his whole body began to sink, sinking directly into the ground. The key is that there is no pit on the ground. If you don't see it with your own eyes, you won't be able to tell that Ye Feng entered the ground. After a while, Ye Feng reappeared. The origin of Earth is really powerful. To me, the earth element is like something in the palm of my hand, I can handle it at will. The hard ground is like a pool, you can come in and out at will. However, using such an ability also consumes a lot of money. You cannot travel underground for a long time. You need to rest and recover during this period. But it's enough. Use it when necessary, it can bring great help. In fact, using any ability will consume money, such as the power of qi and blood. If you use it for too long, you will also lose it, and the same goes for soul power. There is nothing to say about this. It is the same for any ability and cannot be infinite. However, the length of time can be fought for. For example, if you increase your energy and blood more, you can consume it for a longer period of time. In the same way, if we can find more of the origin of Earth, after absorbing and fusing it, we can travel underground for a longer time. Gilu! Ye Feng's stomach growled. For 5 days, Ye Feng remained motionless, absorbing the origin of Earth and entering a state of selflessness. Now that I am out of the state of concentration, I finally feel extremely hungry. Go get something to eat first. Ye Feng discerned the direction and headed towards the Stone Beast Mountain. Did you notice the situation? No. What about you? No. At a pre-designated place, 5 figures met and consulted each other about the situation. They are the 5 young men in golden armor. Damn it! Where are you hiding? The young man in golden armor cursed angrily and searched for Ye Feng everywhere for 5 days. In order to improve efficiency, even 5 people searched separately. But in the end, nothing was found, not even any clues. Young master, let's eat something first. I robbed this from a mine. The horse-faced man next to him handed over some dried animal meat. The young man in golden armor took it and started to bite it, with disgust in his eyes. This kind of food is made from the sun-dried meat of exotic animals. It's not as good as fresh animal meat, but it's not really that bad. It's just that given the Jinjia young man's background, his daily diet consists of delicacies from the mountains and seas. He really doesn't like food like this. Now I am trapped here, another place full of rocks and without any food. You have to eat even if you don't want to eat. You can't go hungry. After eating and drinking enough. Search separately again, hey. I don't believe it, that kid can disappear. Remember, if there is any situation, call us immediately. The 5 people separated again. There are other powerful groups in a similar situation to them, looking for Ye Feng everywhere in the mountains and plains. Even though he knew in his heart that perhaps the origin of Earth had been absorbed by Ye Feng, he just couldn't swallow this breath. I'm just taking a chance, maybe it hasn't been absorbed yet? Or maybe the absorption failed for some reason. In short, I want to find Ye Feng and find out. Ye Feng came to Stone Beast Mountain. As before, the leader of the Stone Monkey greeted him excitedly. Ye Feng was hungry and had no time to pay attention to them, so he went straight to the food room. The food that was looted before was all stored inside, in a certain cave. They thought these things were not tasty, so they ignored them and kept hoarding them like this. There was a lot of dried meat and bottled drinking water inside. Ye Feng took some and ate the dried meat. The leader of the stone ape also came over and was surprised when he saw Ye Feng eating these things. How could the owner swallow such unpalatable food? It directly took out some of its favorite ores and handed them to Ye Feng. Click, click, click. Master, this is the most delicious thing, so let's eat this. Ye Feng waved his hand, you guys can eat it yourself, I'll just eat this. The leader of the stone ape was moved that the owner was really a good person and left all the good things to them. After eating and drinking enough, Ye Feng was full of energy, with a cold light shining in his eyes. It's time to play with you. Ye Feng whispered coldly. He has not forgotten the scene a few days ago when he snatched the origin of Earth and was threatened by those in the martial master realm. If he hadn't been a soul master and could fly with the help of soul soldiers, he would have had no choice but to leave the things behind. If he didn't, he would really be killed by them. In the secret realm, it is a place of lawlessness. No matter how hard you kill, no one will care. Kaba Kaba, Master, do you need help? The leader of the stone beast asked. It saw that Ye Feng was about to deal with someone. No need, the enemies this time are much stronger than you as a whole, and you won't be able to help them. Ye Feng refused. Then he flashed and left Stone Beast Mountain. Ye Feng, who was standing on the ground, had a faint layer of cocky energy emerging from the solace of his feet and in contact with the earth. In the area within 100 miles, Ye Feng could sense the movement. This is the benefit of integrating the origin of Earth. Even the Earth can become your helper. Over there. Ye Feng sensed that a person was walking forward dozens of miles to the right. Chapter 100. The man observed some traces around him, wanting to see if there was anything suspicious. If not, just look elsewhere. Can this kid still be invisible? The man looked confused. For several days, he traveled to many places, but without success. As the head of the Li family, his overall strength is comparable to that of the Zhang family, and he has been safe and sound for many years. This time the mineral vein was looted, which made him furious, and he did not hesitate to go to the scene to investigate the matter personally. Unexpectedly, I would encounter the appearance of the origin of Earth. This is too attractive to him. As long as he gets the origin of Earth and becomes stronger, his strength will surpass other families, and all his old opponents will no longer be a threat. It is a pity that the origin of Earth was taken away by others. As time goes by, the chance of him getting it becomes lower and lower. But no matter how slim the hope was, he had to give it a try. Anyway, the passage to the secret realm was closed now, so he could only stay in the secret realm. There are no clues here, so you can only look elsewhere. Just as the head of the Li family was preparing to leave this place. Not good. A strong sense of crisis spread throughout his body. He, who has a martial arts level cultivation, knows clearly that this sense of crisis will not appear for no reason. It is the various senses of the body that work at the same time. When danger is perceived, early warning signals are given faster than the brain. Once this signal appears, it proves that there is absolute danger. Danger comes from underground. Before he had time to think about it, the surging energy and blood in his body was instantly summoned, applied to his legs, and he jumped upwards. Boom! At the same time, the ground suddenly exploded, and a figure jumped up from it. The sword in his hand was glowing yellow, and he slashed at the head of the Li family who was about to jump up. The head of the Li family looked ferocious and could only block with his sword, but his response was too hasty and he could only block part of the power. Puff! With the blessing of the origin of Earth, the force of this sword was extremely heavy and terrifying, blasting the head of the Li family upwards and flying rapidly, with blood spurting out of his mouth. The head of the Li family was thrown upwards and saw that the person who attacked him was a man wrapped in yunsang vines. "It's you." The person who suddenly appeared that day to snatch the origin of earth was dressed like this. In addition, now, this person suddenly emerged from the underground, just like the huge stone beast composed of the earth at that time, able to travel freely underground. The origin of earth was absorbed by this person. The origin of earth. My origin of earth. The head of the Li family's eyes were red, and he was still thinking about the origin of earth. "Boy! How dare you sneak attack me? You also absorbed the origin of earth, I want you to die." The head of the Li family descended from a high altitude, and with the momentum, he also used the strongest sword technique he had practiced, the falling wild goose cut, like a wild goose swooping down, carrying infinite sword power. Facing this move, Feng, who was on the ground below, raised the corners of his mouth. The soul power was mobilized, and a shuttle knife appeared. Intertwined and intertwined, the soul power threads were intertwined and killed towards the head of the Li family. "Break it for me." The head of the Li family suddenly slashed with his sword, cutting into part of the silk screen. The situation suddenly reached a stalemate. The soul power threads were also glowing with a yellow light. They were obviously attached to the original energy of the earth, making them even more tenacious and difficult to break. Not good. There were hundreds of shuttle knives, but the Li family leader could only guard against some of them, but failed to guard the rest and launched an attack on him from the side. In the air, he was completely unable to dodge. He was hit by many attacks, and his skin and flesh were immediately torn, and he fell from the air helplessly. Thanks to his being in the martial master realm, he has been nourished by qi and blood all year round, making his body strong, otherwise his body would probably be cut into pieces at this moment. The head of the Li family who fell to the ground was so angry that he died immediately before Feng could take action again. Feng searched him and took away valuable things. Next, Feng once again used the energy brought by the origin of earth to sense the movement of a large area around him through the earth to detect nearby enemies. This time, there were no suspicious targets around. Feng continued to move forward and continued to explore. Not long after, I found a new goal. Get close to the target, and when you reach a certain distance, dive underground, approach silently, and then launch a fatal blow. This person was not as vigilant as the head of the Li family, and was instantly killed by Feng's sudden attack. Before he died, his face was full of shock and confusion. He didn't understand how everything went so well, and an attack suddenly appeared from the ground. It was so powerful that it directly killed all the people in his martial arts realm. After killing this person and taking away the loot, Feng continues to look for the target. One after another, they fell under Feng's assassination. There are people from those families, and there are also members of the Golden Armored Youth team. When attacking them, they are basically alone. But this time, when Feng found the target, there were 3 of them. That was the young man in golden armor, and the other 2 team members. The 3 of them stayed together, their expressions solemn. "You haven't contacted me yet," the young man in golden armor said with a frown. "Young master, the 2 of them have not been contacted, and there is no news." The horse-faced man next to him replied. The 5 of them were originally separated, so that the search would be more efficient. With their strength in the martial realm, they are very confident. Even if they fight alone, they are not afraid of anyone in the secret realm. But just now, when I wanted to contact each other and ask about some information, there were 2 people who couldn't be contacted. At first, I thought I had encountered some unexpected situation, but as time went by, I felt more and more something was wrong. The 3 of them arranged a place to meet and discuss the matter. What else could happen? The young man in golden armor said in confusion. In this secret realm, with their strength, they have no one to fear, so what else could happen? Suddenly, the golden-armored young man's eyes narrowed. The golden-armored young man with an earth-type physique was also relatively sensitive to the earth element. He suddenly noticed that there was abnormal movement coming from the ground. Even though the movement was very weak, he was still aware of it in advance. "Careful! Get out of the way!" The young man in golden armor shouted loudly and was the first to dodge. The other 2 people reacted very quickly, mainly because they had no brainless trust in the golden-armored young man, so when they heard his words, they subconsciously obeyed and dodged. Bang! Just as they were dodging, a powerful attack came out from the ground where they were originally standing. The hearts of the three of them were beating like drums, and they were terrified. If they had slowed down just a moment ago, they would be seriously injured even if they were not dead. It's you. When he saw the attacker's figure clearly, the young man in golden armor's face darkened.
If you're enjoying the story so far and want to hear the next parts, don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And if you'd like me to continue the series, drop a comment below letting me know. Your feedback and support keep these audiobooks going strong. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.